Do you want your mix down?
Yeah, because I'll just stumble over myself. It's like talking on my cell phone and hearing the reverb.
Right.
I can hear myself naturally, so that's
sometimes because
internalizes it for me.
And these are
that
like
I'm an asshole.
I wish they did that to me. I'd be like, oh boy, I better clean up my life.
I mean, I've been called an asshole since, I don't know, about 8:30 this morning, so it's fine. I mean, I'm used to it.
8:30? You got a late start this morning.
I mean, I had to get my coffee and get over to the field,
Yeah.
make a post, and everybody's all freaked out. Just calm down, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ. It's only a couple more weeks. Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up. Most of you should wear masks, honestly, because you're fucking ugly.
What? Cory Sterling. Cory Sterling, everybody.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what this fucking world's come to. Social distancing's the greatest thing that has ever happened.
It really is.
I'm in the customer service business, and I'm nicer to my customers because when they come in, they're not in my face like Joe Biden trying to sniff on me. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. You know,
we're rolling.
Right. They're not in my face. I don't smell them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to exchange body odor. If I can smell your body odor, I can taste your body odor.
Yeah.
People really need to maybe sit down for 15 minutes instead of cruising porn for 5 hours and maybe Google what you can actually smell and taste. And they probably would wear a mask the rest of their goddamn life.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they say if you fart in a room and you can smell it, you can taste it.
Yeah, I feel like I can taste most things I can smell.
Yeah, it's
and
terrible.
half the time it's not pleasant.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the mask kind of filters that out a little bit. I get it. We're outside. I'm a total pro no mask. I would rather just see herd immunity or whatever, survival of the fittest. So don't push that against me. But, you know, hey, I'm just as much as at risk as everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm being a tough guy here. I make a post on the internet. Everybody thinks I'm a tough guy. They just don't know my personality. I don't fucking lie. I'm not going to lie to you. If I don't like you, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, if you're going to be a douchebag, I'm going to escort you out.
Well, so to give everyone context.
It's probably going to be fucking impossible at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, Psycho on John's podcast.
Yeah.
Let's go listen.
Episode 19, the Cory Sterling
haters.
Show.
Hello, haters. I'm here.
Yeah. So, well, for context, for the first of, I'm sure, many rants, is you put on a show called Vagfair.
Yes.
You put two on. There's one here in Vacation Land, Maine.
Yes.
And then one in York, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
We're not currently in Brunswick. Where are we at the moment?
In Harpswell, about 5 minutes outside of Brunswick.
We're on like a strip of land that goes out into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, it's beautiful here.
It is. But when you look at the GPS, when I'm driving down here, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to end up in the ocean.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's
it's
no
fine.
ocean on both sides.
I mean, you drive an old truck, so it's rusted already. So just
the
finish
one
it
I
off.
drive came up from the south, so it's
Right,
got
I
plenty
know,
to
it's
go.
not
Yeah,
rusty. But don't worry, about a week here, and it'll be a fucking barn door.
I'm glad I didn't bring it down here.
Yeah.
Just the ocean just waving over the road.
I can feel the cab corners rotting off of it.
Yeah, I can hear it from here.
I just hear them crispy popping.
So you put on Vagfair, and so what number is this? Do you know? Do you keep track?
I'm old now. I'm 45. I think I started this when I was. God, I mean, I started doing car shows when I was 16.
And we can get into that. I just didn't know how many.
I'm trying to think. I think we're probably the 13 or 14.
Wow, that many.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was
in
that
York.
many.
In York.
It's
been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
That's why I have gray hair.
That, and I'm sure plenty of other things.
Well, yeah, judging complaints.
Yeah. So that's to continue the context there. We're a day before the show.
Yes.
The Brunswick, Maine.
The get together to get everybody in place.
Yeah.
So I get a feel for what's going on. That's how I like to do my shows. So that's why I do them 2 days.
Yep.
It gives people time to travel in.
Well, and
set up and
Vagfair,
rest.
Yeah, and the one here in Maine is at a campground.
Right.
And so people can
They can enjoy the whole weekend.
come in and camp, and
They
so
can call in sick on Monday and take their time to go home.
that's right.
Right.
I've done that plenty of times.
I do it all the time.
Yep. Luckily, your boss is okay with it.
Hey, he's kind of an asshole.
So we're a day away from like the show weekend.
Right.
And in the current climate right now with the pandemic and all that, you made a post on Facebook basically saying we're here, like we're a go for the show.
Right.
You know, the campground venue operators and owners are okay with you being here. And
Yep.
obviously with what's going on right now, we've got some social guidelines to kind of follow in order.
We've got some major changes basically
Right.
just across the board in the whole event world. I have a couple friends that have done Coachella, and he still does.
Yep.
Stagecoach. He was one of the heads on the, overseeing stage setups and teardowns for the Vans Warped Tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a great friend of mine. I look to him for some insight on stuff like this as well. And it's tough. I mean, you have an industry right now that's not making any money. And these guys are like broke.
Yeah.
And I mean, it emotionally, it chokes me up just talking about it because I know how bad he's hurting.
Right.
And the music industry in general is really hurting. And it's going to have ramifications long term because, I mean, a lot of people, let's face it, a lot of people enjoy music and depend on music to get through their days or to keep them in a good mood or whatever, to get over depression, maybe a breakup, whatever.
Yep.
And that whole thing is closed, like recording studios and stuff like that. I mean, you're talking a big void that's in everybody's lives.
And
now,
live music in particular, not just music, but live music plays a huge role in that. So venue operators and owners.
Everybody's at home. They don't have anything to do. Obviously kayak sales are up, bike sales are up, outdoor activities are up. And that's great because then you're going to see more people healthy.
Yeah.
Which is going to hopefully combat, any of the effects that COVID may have that prey on, they say, the less than well-being.
Yeah.
And in some cases, obviously, the well-being. But, whatever.
Yeah.
I take media right now with a grain of salt because you don't know who to fucking believe.
Yeah.
Anyway, to do an event like this in the climate that we're in, it's been harder than the first year I've ever put in the show on.
I'm sure.
And harder than doing any show I've ever done.
And we're a month behind your normal date.
Yes.
Because it's normally June.
We're June, the second weekend in June is usually the kickoff.
Yep.
And with the uncertainty of like this quarantine problems and, when the state could open up to out-of-staters, when the COVID was going to lay, I just rolled the dice, back in February and was like, I was traveling all over the place. I was in New York City. I was in Mass. I was in Maryland. I was all over the state buying and selling cars. So picking them up. And I mean, the creepiest thing I've ever done, I mean, it really hit my core was driving into New York City in the height of a pandemic to pick up a Highlander in Brooklyn.
No.
In a rough section of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's usually so populated, it would take you from the time you get off get off the highway to get onto the island, to get to Brooklyn, would take you an hour and 40 minutes. It took 15 minutes.
Yeah, I believe it.
And there's not a soul in sight.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to hear birds in Times fucking Square chirping was really eerie.
Yep.
It kind of made my mind kind of revert to the movie Will Smith, I Am Legend.
Right. Yeah.
And, the conspiracy thing, all that shit, plays into your mind, all the movies, all the stuff that's been shoved down your throat, media, shoved into you, kind of comes rearing up out of the subconscious. And you're just like, I got shaken. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, this is really fucking serious. I mean, you shut New York City to a standstill. I lived outside of New York City my entire life. My dad was in there every week. I was in there every single week with him. I'd go to work with him.
Yeah, the city that never sleeps.
Never. I would party at NYU and get up at 4 in the morning and be able to grab a beer.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock. It didn't matter. You could do whatever you could go buy fucking underwear at fucking 2 in the morning. I mean, this is in the 90s.
Yep.
89, 90 when I'm in New York City.
Yep.
And, I think our generation gap right now, because they haven't seen like the World Trade Centers, they didn't go through the Iraqi war. Most of them, this generation has been through the Iraqi war, but, the impeachment of Bill Clinton, the ban of assault weapons, the real estate market crash, the economic disaster that we went through, the war on drugs during Reagan, Watergate, all that stuff. There's a lot of history that's happened in the last 10 to 20 years that's kind of like doesn't matter right now. And it's weird to me.
Yeah.
You've got a mass amount of entitlement. Everybody has pulled the entitlement card. I'm not saying you're not entitled to your opinion or whatever movement you're a part of or what protest you want to protest. I think it's great that we're actually getting out there and voicing our voice so that we're heard. But the best way to get your voice heard is to make goddamn sure that you go out and vote and get rid of these people that have been in these positions for so long, these powerful people that have been in these positions for so long, and get rid of them and get a younger mindset that jives with the mindset we have now. And maybe we can move forward.
Yeah.
But, back to the event thing, I totally derailed there.
It's all good. I knew this was going to happen.
It was very, very difficult because you've got so much information being pumped into the mainstream right now that everybody's kind of sitting around with their hands up in the air going, do I leave my house? Do I stay in my house? Do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask?
Yeah.
Is my neighbor an asshole? Am I an asshole? Am I not doing this right? You go to the grocery store and it's, the joke online, you can't get COVID at Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and here. I think it's quite funny. I mean, it's almost funny, like the fucking plastic shield there. Like COVID comes out of your mouth, hits the plastic shield, doesn't go any further. It can't walk around that plastic shield, can't go over the plastic shield, doesn't go under the plastic shield. It's like you don't live in a fucking bubble. But the media pressure has scared people shitless. The government that we have right now, the current administration, and I'm not pulling sides because I stay dead to the middle. I'm dead to the fucking middle. All I want is to people to be able to pay the correct amount of taxes, kids get good educations, because they are who are going to define what we have in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, a lot of really good people got railroaded in the nominations because of old thinking. We've got to get out of that old thinking. We've got to stop letting things control our thoughts. We need to take the information we're getting, sit it down in front of you, process it, then make a decision on that information. Fact check it. Make sure it's true. My daughter did this to me. I pulled something up that came from a very right-wing news media outlet. My daughter has a degree in communications, and she's like, Dad, dude, you look like a dumbass. This is like right-wing media. This isn't middle of the road. Here's what you read if you want middle of the road. And I'm like, I didn't even honestly think to fact check that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I take full responsibility for being a douchebag and lashing out online. And I think that's what a lot's happening. And I mean, with all these new rules, we've had to implement those rules.
Right. And that's basically coming around to you being charged for I mean, you're usually charged anyway.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when I showed up to the fairgrounds today, or the campground today, yeah, you had made a post on Facebook about the show, but it was like it's
very straightforward. It was like the point.
Yeah, it was like a mic drop post. And then, yeah. So anyway, as soon as I rolled up, it was, you were at war with the
I have a good time with it. It doesn't really rattle my cage. I just think it's really funny when somebody calls me out and says, "Oh, good luck with your show because you got to wear a mask. Nobody's going to come." And I'm like, well, bud, the whole entire campground's sold out. It's at 130% capacity.
Yeah.
For camping. They've added extra spots for camping due to social distancing, so they got to space everything out.
Exactly.
And anything that overwhelms one area has to have another hand washing station, another bathroom, so on and so forth. So, like, what people are so quick to just jump on because we can have a meme war about it, or we can just say something facetious and stupid and be an asshole online, you don't realize, like, what we've gone through to do this for you.
Right.
Because honestly, I want to hang out with all my friends, and this is the only way that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to profit on this. I don't care. I've spent a fucking shitload of money on this thing. Like, I'm going to be cooking for you guys. Like,
on Sunday.
Physically cooking for you guys.
Yeah. So,
it's like, I'm going to do a live charity auction that I'm going to try and figure out how to do socially distant, where you guys are going to have to stand far apart.
I think it's going to be just fine. I feel like the crowd that knows you and that travels from either close by or far to come to one of your events knows that you're kind of like a no BS guy. So I think people are going to not just in taking their own steps with what's going on right now and being in a crowd and kind of doing their own part, but being at your show, and respecting the guidelines that you've also set. So I think I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm vending the show.
I'm not worried about it. I mean, for years, people know me as the asshole. Okay. I did H2O pretty much since I think the second or third show. And I was an asshole to Jay. And that's how Jay got me to come work for him, because he was an asshole back to me.
Well, let's get into that. So we can not.
Here we go down the rabbit hole.
Let's skim the surface. We'll skim the surface, because there's people, the majority of the people that listen to this podcast at the current moment are mostly automotive enthusiasts.
Right.
There's some people from music or BMX or whatever that listen to it too, or just whoever so happens to stumble upon it. But most people are automotive enthusiasts, and I'd say 99%, if not even more, of those people know what H2O is. It's like
they know the word H2O.
Well, they know that it's
a massive gathering.
Yeah. So as for us Americans, it's our Worthersy. Mm-hmm. It really is, because I mean, Worthersy's been going on since 1983 or something insane.
Yeah, it's something.
It's a couple years older than I am. Yeah, I'm 35.
Yeah, you're still a young buck.
Yeah. I wish tell my bones that.
Yeah. You've also rode all your life and broke them all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell your bones shit.
Yeah.
I broke my hip, so.
Yeah, it's not good. But yeah, so a lot of people know what H2O is. I have a lot of friends from England and Germany that come over every year. My friend Victor from Moscow, Russia, comes over every year. I mean, still, just in these last few years, they still come over. Adam and James from ILB Drivers Club from Ireland to do the Strip movies. They come over every year, and they do like an 80s themed movie of what's going on. And their first year was 2016. And that might have been the first year that the show might have still been there. I think 2017 was the first year the show wasn't there.
Let me think here. 16.
I've been in Ocean City the weekend of H2O since 2009.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, they still had the show at the campgrounds. I think 17, 18.
18 was not going on.
18 was not going on.
I don't think, right?
No.
That's the one
that was last year.
18 was
last year. There was no show.
18 was the one that he canceled a month before.
Oh, he canceled it a long time before that. He just wasn't going to tell everybody.
Right. But you know what I mean? He put out a press release a month before. A
bullshit press release.
Yeah. Or a statement or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. He shouldn't be making any statements about that show.
Well, basically coding over that, let's get into your...
Why I hate him?
Well, no. I mean...
I don't hate him. That's
I'm not
going to...
Yeah, no. I just mean as far as just an outlook on H2O at the very beginning. Because like I said, 09 was my first year. So this was already an established...
Yeah, I got my first block of ice from H2O. That's what the trophies were, a block of ice.
Yep.
Under the racetrack at Ocean Downs.
Now, the first one was at Lime Rock, right?
There were two at Lime Rock.
Okay, yep. And
it all started at Jay's house.
And then what was the first year was at Ocean Downs in Ocean City?
I can remember it was cold as fuck.
Was it
rainy,
early 2000s?
Gray. It had to be 2000s.
Yeah.
Because I was home from the military at that point. I went in 92. 93, 94, 95. I was out in 97. Back in. Trying to think if I was married my first time then.
How many years did you serve?
I was in a total of 8.
Yep. What did you do? I mean, I kind of know what you did, but
yeah, I went in as food service.
Yep.
And then cross-trained in everything I could possibly get my fucking hands on.
Yep.
And then did a little bit of sniper work.
Yep.
It was the military changed my life.
I'm sure it
for
did.
the better.
Well, that's good. That's good. Not everybody can say that.
You think I'm fucking wild now.
No, I've heard some of the stories.
You put my mom on this goddamn thing, and I got to go fucking hide somewhere.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I'll have local law enforcement looking for me.
I'm sure.
I was a wild kid. I was never one to settle down. I was always into something.
Yeah.
I mean, dirt bikes, bicycles, skateboarding. I've got original Tony Hawk boards, Lance Mountain boards. I had the fucking triple white GT. I had an all chrome Haro.
Yep.
You know, I had the heavy, you know, to jump a 22-pound bike was like, you were the shit because the Huffy was like 50.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
if we could get 3 feet off the ground, we were superstars.
Yeah, when I first started riding bikes, we're still 30 plus pounds.
Right.
For
Heavy
sure.
bastards.
They're heavy bikes.
I mean, slipping off the pedals, the stupid little dimples on them, and they tear your shin right to hell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Either the meat tenderizers or the shark bite
Right.
pedals.
Shark bite pedals.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You slipped off of those and it was
It's
bloody
over.
fucking hell.
Yeah, it's over.
I mean, I can't tell you every time my nuts have ate the fucking goddamn gooseneck and,
Yep.
you know, changing goosenecks out, changing seat stems out, changing a lean back seats out, changing one wheel from a spoke wheel to a mag wheel. You know, all the weird shit that we were trying to do that, like, now bicycles, I look at them and I'm like, I mean, that Shadow Conspiracy's a cool bike.
Yep.
You know, there's some really cool shit out there. And
Shout out to Ron Bonner,
Yeah.
who started Shadow.
I mean, there's some real, I had a lot of, believe it or not, I had a ruckus with a lot of Shadow Conspiracy stuff on it. I had
That's
Shadow
awesome.
Conspiracy bars on it. I had grips on
Grips,
it.
yep.
The end stem caps.
Yep.
All the little cool, like, trinket shit that would hide bolts and stuff. There was some really cool stuff. So I kind of implemented a lot of bike stuff into my motorcycle stuff as well. And, like, I don't know, I guess I cross all kinds of stuff with
I do that too.
automotives.
Yeah.
I mean, even in my house, like, I think, like, I was joining some shake shingles onto my house because I had tore the door out and the idiot that owned the house before me had a marble wrapped crown around it. And I don't, you know, wear gold-plated loafers and silk shirts.
Yeah.
So I felt, and I mean, on top of it, we live in Maine. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't the Jersey Shore, no offense. But, you know, I had to take all that stuff down and I had to put the clapboards back in. And I'm like, well, I don't want to strip the clapboard for 10 feet and waste 10 feet of good clapboard. I'm trying to be, you know, carbon neutral, maybe, if you want to say it that way. I just want to recycle. There's no sense in cutting wood up to fucking throw it away,
Right.
burn it, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how can I join these? I'm like, oh, 3M epoxy. So I took 3M epoxy, glued them up, and stuck the shingles in it, then nailed them down, and then took an acid brush and matched the pattern.
Yep.
Perfect.
There you go.
You'll never see it.
Yep. Mechanic building the house.
Right. Yeah. I'm using car shit to build my house. You know? It's like, you do it all the time.
So when you were growing up, were you living in Pennsylvania?
So I
Or was
grew
that
up
just
in,
outside New York City?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay. Yeah.
So my father had a very successful printing business in Connecticut. And then I was a shithead with a couple of my friends and got in a lot of trouble. And I literally am the quintessential poster boy for, you're either going to jail, boy, or you're going in the military. And I'm like, well, military's not bad. My dad was in there. My grandfather was a general, whatever.
Yep.
I like guns. My dad won't let me shoot them. They will, so I'm going there.
There you go. So how old were you when you enlisted? Was it just out of high school?
17.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep. 17, waited a year, went in right as I literally wasn't allowed to go to my graduation.
Yep.
Me and 3 of my other friends weren't allowed to go to graduation. That probably had to do with apples and some lawn damage. Probably 10,000 apples and some lawn damage.
Oh my goodness.
And I got my diploma, literally got my diploma. My recruiter was at the house. It's like, let's go. Off to boot camp I went.
Yeah.
Shock to the system? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how was that? Yeah.
It was a shock to the system. I excelled very well in it because I kind of need that direction in my life. Somebody to stand there and tell me, hey, shut the fuck up and just do what you're doing.
Otherwise, you're like the Tasmanian devil.
Right. And maybe that's why I spill out the way I do. I don't mean to come off like that, like online, like I'm being a fucking badass, because that's not it.
Right.
But it seems like when I say something like, dude, please wear a mask, like, I really appreciate it. And then you come in, it's like fucking the middle finger everywhere I go. It's like, listen, fucking asshole. You know, just fucking put the mask on and shut the fuck. I don't care if you like Biden. I don't give a fuck if you like Epstein. I don't give a fuck if you like Trump. Just, these are the rules, man.
Yeah.
I didn't make them. I'm just telling you to just follow them. It's like your mother that's told you, Johnny, don't touch the stove. It's hot. Don't touch the stove. It's hot. What the fuck are you doing over there? You know what I mean?
Touching the stove.
And then you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe I should listen. But like talking like that, I'm finding as I get older and as the internet grows more and social media becomes more prominent, because I've grown up in social media. Like We didn't have cell phones when I was a kid.
Right.
Like we walked to fucking school both ways barefoot uphill with no cell phone. Can you imagine that?
Exactly.
And fuck, I had a metal gas can.
Yeah.
With no restrictor on it.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who thought about me growing up in the 80s like this? Christ, I had Duran.
Yep.
Like, come on. Like life was good back then. You know,
Yep.
when you went to your friend's house, you got on your bike and you rode over there. And it didn't matter how sweaty or hot you got. You got there. And it seems like, I'm not saying like the newer generation's soft, but they've been more contained by the entertainment of social media. So that going out and being like, oh yeah, Mom, I'll be back at 8. Okay, I don't need a phone.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then I saw the internet, you know, the beginning of Vortex.
Oh yeah.
And that's where the beginning of the real shit talking began.
Yeah. Yeah. The internet definitely spawned
You know,
that.
and then you've got people that can voice their opinion to a blank screen that they're not seeing face to face with. They don't see the emotion that I may carry in my face or the look in my eye or the way I'm dressed, or maybe I'm having a bad day and I look like I haven't slept in 9 months. You don't see that. So
Right,
when you
right.
type something really fucking nasty to somebody, you have to think about what that other person could
Oh, yeah.
potentially be dealing with that day.
Yeah. Nobody does. Yeah.
And it's like, you just got to be subconsciously okay with that. Like the bullying, the online bullying, that there's a lot of people that take that hard. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I get
absolutely.
hated on all the fucking time, like by people that I helped out. And I'm just like, man, that's really fucked. I don't understand what it ever
Yeah.
did to you.
I mean, I've experienced that too in all sorts of industries. Like BMX had it. Obviously,
Right.
the music industry was toxic, and again with cars and stuff, especially with the internet. You know, you get people that
It's like,
there's people that you and I both know that just seem like they become like
there's hater pages
awful
for everybody.
people. Yeah.
And it's like, if you hate me so much, I mean, I'm trying to think of something I really hate. I hate Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I don't like their coffee.
How dare you?
I don't. I'm a New Englander.
How dare you?
I know. And I hate their coffee because it literally tastes like battery acid to me.
Oh man,
It sucks.
We're
I'm
not,
a Starbucks kid. Sorry.
man.
$5. Whatever.
Man. Yeah.
But, you know,
So
I don't go on the internet and go, dude, I can't believe you like Dunkin'. Like, ugh. It's like,
yeah,
grow the
and
fuck up.
most people that follow me on Instagram know that I'm a Dunkin' Donuts coffee
Oh, I know you are.
nerd.
I know you
But
are.
here's the thing: I've never claimed to be a coffee like connoisseur.
I'm not
or
either.
coffee nerd. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was almost 30. So I've only been drinking coffee the last like 6 years. And when I did, I just started drinking Dunkin' Donuts because that's what my dad got for coffee, and
Right.
I just acquired that taste, and that's it. But
Yeah, I
I
mean-
am definitely, I like. There was I went on like a date like maybe a year ago maybe, and there's a girl I already knew. We were already friends, but I picked her up and it was in the morning, and I was like, "Do you drink coffee?" And she's like, "Yeah, anywhere but Dunkin' Donuts." And I was like, "We're
Okay,
we're off to a
stop
real
this.
bad start here."
Hang
This is-
on, I'm going to drop you off,
Yeah.
pick you back up, and you're going to be like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, as you said, we're gonna start this over. This is not gonna work out.
Yeah, I can't do dunks.
But going back to the beginning of like the car stuff, like you got into the military early,
Yes.
and
I bought my first Mark 1 GTI. I fucking fell in love with it.
while you were enlisted.
Yes.
Yep.
I was in Germany. I was in Ansbach, Germany,
Okay.
which is like 30 minutes south of Nuremberg, southern Bavaria.
Yep.
Really nice town. And I met a guy named Lars at a bar called the Green Goose, which was some good stories from that place.
I'm sure there are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we didn't have Tinder back then. We had the Green Goose.
Yep.
So Lars had this awesome British Racing Green metallic Mark 1 GTI. You know, and over in Germany, I kind of came in 92 was like the birth of the big bumper Mark II and everything else. And I remember in high school, one of my fellow classmates had bought an 83 GTI. It was silver with the blue plaid interior. And I was like, man, that car's super cool. Like, let me go for a ride in it. And he took me for a ride. And I was just like hooked. But then I was into smoking a shit ton of weed and hanging out with my friends, doing dumb shit, underage drinking and breaking into golf courses. And they, you know, just shit unraveled. We were bad kids.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
plain and simple. I was a bad fucking kid. I apologize to anybody I fucked over. I didn't really mean it. I was high most of the time, and I made bad decisions. I won't blame it on my parents because I made bad decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in my head, I would my dad kick my ass? Yep. Okay, let's do this. You know,
Yeah.
perfect.
Roll the dice.
Right. And I had some enabling friends. I
Yeah,
did.
we all did.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, the peer pressure of being cool.
Yeah.
We didn't have the internet, so you had to impress your friends.
Yeah,
you know? I couldn't
exactly.
impress you with how many friends. I was like, oh man, I got 9,000 friends today. Oh, today I've only got 8,400.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, so go into the military, and I've always had this love for that car.
Yep.
And I meet him, and anyway, he takes me for a ride, and I'm like, dude, this thing's sick. Like, we'd hang out and drink all the time and just talk shit about cars and stuff like that. And that's where I really started to gain my real big desire for cars in Germany. I mean, I bought a Mustang when I got out of the military, and I rebuilt it. I didn't get my license until I was almost 21 in the United States. I had my international driver's license.
This was in the late 90s when you came home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a crazy year. You know, 95 was the first year for the Mark III GTI. And I was like, whoa, look at that. And I was like, Jesus Christ, 17 grand. You know,
Crazy.
20 grand. I can't afford that.
Yep.
I mean, I was working in a kitchen in Hartford, and I was a sous chef there. And I just got tired of it. And I ended up going back in the military.
In 95?
I never really got out. I was active, but I got activated to go active duty from my my reserve unit. So I went back active, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had a love for Mark I's when I got out of the military, or when I was in the military. So Lars ends up coming up to my barracks room one day, and he says, hey, I'm going to sell the Mark I. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, of course I want it. He's like, $2,000. I'm done.
Awesome.
I went right over to the bank, and I finagled my way into buying an 83 Rabbit GTI in probably 93.
And while you were in Germany?
While I was in Germany.
Yep. Yep.
And I drove the shit out of that car.
That's awesome. And that's I've been to Germany, and it's just, that's the best place to drive a car like that.
Oh,
for sure.
I regret ever selling that car.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you sell it before you came back? It stayed in Germany?
I trashed it, ripping. We came back from a deployment in Saudi, and we were in the we jumped in the GTI, still in Kevlar helmets and fucking battle rattles.
Oh, so that.
We're going to get beer, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we've been in Iraq.
You got off the plane and got in the GTI.
You can't
basically.
drink. Like, we got back, and we're at the barracks, and we're like free to do whatever for a couple days, and we're like, fuck, let's go.
Waste no time.
Yeah, no. Buddies come back. I get in the car. We go over there, and I'm ripping across this one-lane path that was between cow farms, and it was a hard right 90 into another hard left 90, and I would rip through there at 60. You know, I pushed the car right through. It's usually by the time I got through the first corner, the car was sliding, and it was ready to go through the second. Fucking telecom, man. A motherfucker in a Citroen. I'll never forget it. Silver Citroen. He's in my lane. I fucking hit him dead on the fucking money at 60 miles an hour.
Goodness.
No brakes. Nothing.
Wow.
Kevlar fucking boom right into the windshield. Him into the windshield.
Were you wearing your helmet?
Yeah, we were still out of helmets on.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Had the fucking helmet on.
How perfect.
Seatbelt and helmet.
Yeah.
And fucking bulletproof vest.
Wow. You were geared up.
We just got the bus.
Wow.
Let's go.
That's crazy.
So
that's
that's military. Waste no time.
Yeah, but you were literally wearing the perfect ensemble to be in a head-on collision in a Mark I Rabbit.
Right, at almost 60 fucking miles an hour.
Yeah.
I hit him so hard that it didn't break his tire off the axle. I bent the control arm, and the tire absorbed so much of the car that it just pushed the axle through the transmission.
Wow.
It went straight through the transmission and then pushed the car and pushed it up against like a small tree.
Yeah.
But that was a massive issue in Germany because I hit a tree with another vehicle from my vehicle.
Oh.
So and technically insurance there would make you pay for the life of the tree plus 10 years of its life going forward.
Oh. Okay.
They're very particular about that stuff.
Yeah.
And it became a big problem. The police got involved. I got, almost court-martialed for the goddamn incident.
Wow.
My first sergeant tried to take my driver's license away. That didn't really work out for him. And I drove anyway, and he chased me in that Mark 1. I pulled the front end back out.
Yeah. So it was savable.
It hit dead in the center, right in
Yeah.
the center. Just folded the radiator support in, broke the oil filter housing. The motor mount kind of saved the core support. So I straightened it all out with a truck on the site, type
Yeah.
tree,
Yeah.
redneck ingenuity. I mean, I'm in Germany. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
Got it to the point where it'd run again. And my first sergeant actually saw me on the road in that car after he said he took my license away and then chased me to my girlfriend's house at that time.
Wow.
And then like, you're going to be in my office the next day and everything else. And I was like, whatever. I get PCS out of this bitch soon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, I caught hell for that. But you know, after that car, I bought BMW 323. I bought a Opel Manta GT. I bought a Z1 with the doors that rolled down into the bottom.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
$3,500.
That would have been one to keep. Because we never got the Z1s here.
No, it was a cool car. I mean,
now
it was a shit box.
Yeah, but now they're like valuable.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I'm aware.
Yeah. It's such a cool car too. It's cool that you owned one.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend, her brother had an Opel Manta.
That's another cool car.
It was an S or something like that, but it was a 16-valve, 2-liter with carburetors on it, and it was fast as shit. And I mean, I was introduced through him to this massive audience of people that I didn't know existed that shared the same passion that I had for automobiles. And it was really cool to see it from an outsider's perspective. Now that I think about it, look back on it, I just wanted to hang out with them all the time.
Right.
But like, we'd get together on like some back fucking farm road and then go rip around. And that was what we would do.
Yep.
Like slammed out Opels, slammed out Citroens, slammed out Volkswagens, slammed out Beamers. You know, it was just like, whoa, never seen these cars before. And now you have kids that grow up that aren't going to have that social interaction that I had with somebody who introduced me to something so cool.
Yeah, the discovery of it.
Right.
Yeah.
They discover it by picking their phone up and going,
I want that.
What's trending?
Yeah.
You know, and Reddit? What the fuck is Reddit?
Yeah.
Like my daughter's constantly talking about Reddit. So the other day, I mean, I'm 45. I don't have a lot of time to be on the internet as much as my friends say I'm on it constantly. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Bloomsburg. That's all I do. And it's just like there's no social connection. There's no responsibility anymore when somebody wants to be part of the scene. They can just walk right in.
Yeah. And
they
now
can build a car in the garage, post it online, and they become
and you can finance all
cool.
that stuff now too.
Right.
Wheels, suspension,
Affirm, all this stuff. Don't do that, guys. Come on, man.
Yeah, you can just.
You don't want to finance wheels. Half you guys buy fake splits anyway.
You can be. But it's just. Yeah, it's a status thing now.
Right.
And it's a 15-minute. It's a 15-minute thing. I mean, it's like
It's 15 minutes of fame.
They come and go, and the fame isn't even real.
It isn't. It's internet. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling. Oh, she's like, oh man, I got 600 likes on this. Like,
yeah.
And
I mean, and that's
10 billion people in this world.
Yeah.
600 people, dude.
But that
Where do you
transcends.
think you matter?
Yeah, that transcends to all sorts of different communities, not just the car thing. But yeah, I mean that's awesome because I have a similar experience to getting into cars. I mean, my dad was in the cars, and then I just met people that were in the cars.
Street rods and everything.
Yeah, it was
else.
just
you were brought up the right way, as I would call it.
It was an organic enthusiasm or an organic hobby. Yeah. Rather than being like, oh, a bunch of people are into that, I want to go be a part.
Right. It seems like that. It's like society now, you know, thinking back to 10 years ago, is based off of trending. What's the trend? What's the internet trend? It's not what's a cool sneaker. I mean, I go to the mall and I'm like, I know this sneaker or that shoe or this watch or that jacket or this or that. Yeah. You know, when you were a kid, that shit was elusive. You had to really look for it. Now it's like anybody can be that.
Right. Yeah.
There's no personality anymore.
Yeah.
You could be, you could be straight edge today, and you could be a full blown alcoholic tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you could go from being, I got tired of being a full blown alcoholic to I want to get into drugs. And okay, I don't like drugs anymore, but I want to get into high fashion. You know, people don't have like, I'm just an asshole and I don't mean it that way. I have a big heart, and that's what a lot of people
Oh,
say about me. They're like, "Oh, you're just an asshole with a big heart," and it's hard for me to explain like how I feel about it. I just wish people would actually listen. You know, there's a lot of really smart people in this world that are older, and it's like people don't listen to the elders anymore. They become this internet person that they think 2,000, 10,000 people following them is important, or even 1 million people are following them is important. Out of all those 1 million people, think about this. Who would you sit down with right now and drink a cup of coffee with or invite into your home and know that you feel safe with them?
Right. Yeah.
You know, that, or you're right, that organic experience is gone. And now add the pandemic, as I call it, because I think it's a big plan, but whatever. I used to just tickle the conspiracy theories to listen.
Yeah.
You know, the pandemic, I don't make jokes of that. You know, COVID is real. But it's made everything more difficult, more quarantinable. You know what I mean? Like, instead of being organic, people are now even more afraid to go outside in a social setting when they were socially awkward to begin with because they've been raised in social media.
Yeah.
You know, parents are like, "Oh, fuck you, kids. Shut the fuck up. Take my phone and watch Blues Brothers or whatever the hell. Blues Clues, sorry.
Yeah.
Steve, the cocaine addict.
Even that's old now.
Right. You know, watch Frozen till your eyeballs fall to your head. Watch Trolls till your eyeballs fall to your head. Just leave me alone because I got work to do because now we're two working parents.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can see that in society. You can see the kids that are very socially awkward, even when they're dressed in Supreme and fucking the new Yeezys or whatever the hell they put on their feet, and you know, the best puffy jacket or whatever, the North Face, whatever. You can see that it's like, it's not the human interaction isn't the same attention as the internet attention. You know, that one organic, man, you look really good today. Like, I like your hair, John. It looks awesome. That one organic, my words to you.
Yeah, and you get addicted to that affirmation.
You're when you get a like, you may hear something that your mind subconsciously is presenting to yourself to make you feel good about it.
Yeah, and then you just look to that for your daily affirmation rather than building your own foundation and just acquiring that affirmation through your own.
Self-confidence is almost what it is.
Yeah.
You kind of lose self-confidence. It's like, I shut off predictive spelling. I'm terrible at grammar. I'm terrible at it. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, you have the grammar gods out there running around. I would have said something else, but that's politically incorrect because we're in a different time now. So now I have to think about like some of the things that I used to say.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't want to offend people. I feel like everybody should have a fair shake in this world. Every single fucking human being that walks the earth here. But if you for 1 second think that the person next to you shouldn't have the same shake as you, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You just are. I mean, you need to work on yourself because we're all born from the same place. Some of you might have been born from a tube or whatever, but you know, I came from my mom, and we all know where that is.
Yeah.
The same place you spend 45 minutes playing with, but you won't wear a mask. You won't come up for air down there, but you wear a mask. You know? It's like, I kind of find that kind of ironic. It's like some of the guys that are really like, "Oh, I'm never wearing a mask, blah, blah, blah." But
I don't know.
Yeah, you'll do that forever. Whatever. Anyway, it's just, people need that. I feel like we've lost the organics.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we both can relate to that. I mean, even just when we come back to like just cars in general,
right?
You know, it's like we have like an organic tie, and I mean, and that's why and not that my friends who have gotten burnt out on the automotive industry, because I totally know why they have, or the show scene itself, is because of the dilution of, you know, these 15-minute style kids. But the reason why I've had plenty of friends ask me like, why do you go to Ocean City still? It's like, it's gone, it's over. I'm like, I get to see my friends from Florida, I get to see my friends from overseas. Like,
it's exactly what we're doing right here.
It's all about like hanging out with my friends. And so so when I boil it down, I'm like, I'm still connected to those organic fibers. Like I still want to drive the 12 hours down there.
I want the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen your Century, and you're like, hey, man, I know it's a Volkswagen show, and I don't really want to load up the 700 because something's broken on it. I forget what was wrong with it.
Yeah. I ran into some issues with it.
Do you mind if I bring the Century? I'm like, fuck no, dude. That's a really cool car. Nobody's ever seen that. And if you can't appreciate it for what it is, even if it is an all Euro show, and there are the Euro people out there that are like, oh my God, I can't believe it happened. But I'm just like, when are you going to have an opportunity to look at that?
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
remind me.
And obviously, I mean, you know me, it's like, I'm not, well, even if it was a German car, it's like, I'm not coming here looking for some sort of trophy.
No, you want to show off something that's cool.
I want to share it with people.
Right.
I want to share it.
Share your passion.
I mean, when I look out in my driveway and it's sitting in the driveway, I'm like, I can't believe I own one of those things.
I feel the same way about that blue pile of shit out there.
Yeah. Well, definitely not.
I mean, I say that very loosely. Trust me. I'm going to need a psychologist when that car's done.
Well, let's fast track up to that car then. So you come home from Germany without the Mark I.
Correct.
That you have crashed and then fixed.
And so, I come back. I don't have the Mark I.
Right.
So I hunt down a Mark I.
But you've got an itch for one. Right.
Yeah, so I hunt down another one.
Yeah.
I buy it. I decide I don't like the color. I want to paint it black with a blue fade, which was a real big cool thing in the 80s, 90s. You know, fade the car out.
This was in the late 90s at this point.
Right, late 90s.
Yeah, okay.
So I bought this Rabbit. I forget where I bought it from. I think it was Coventry. Then I bring it home. I put a set of Momo wheels on it.
Well, that was my next question. Had you gotten the itch to use the car as like your own blank canvas to like modify or were you at this point just addicted to driving one? You wanted to like build it into your own thing?
I had all that going in Germany because I obviously saw everybody else doing all this shit to their cars,
exactly. Yeah.
Which I couldn't get my hands on because at that point I'm not saying I wasn't mechanically apt, but I just...
Yeah, hadn't acquired all
You
that
have a
stuff
language
yet.
barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like I went to the speed shops, but I didn't know what to look for. I didn't have somebody standing there. I'm in the military. I'm in the field 45 days of the year, every other month.
Yeah.
So modifying a car didn't take top priority. Getting laid and fucking drinking as much German beer, that was top priority. And having a cool car to look at. Make it faster. It wasn't a big deal. Anyway, so I come home and I'm like, well, shit, now I'm home in the U.S. What can I get? Let's figure it out. So I grab, European Car Magazine. And then there's Newspeed, ABD Racing, Evolution Motorsports, Tuning Zubahor. There was DW in Europe, Venom Performance in Europe. There's a bunch of really old companies. And I say these companies, and there might be some older listeners who are like, oh, man, I haven't heard the name Tuning Zubahor in years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know 1552, Matt Crook was sales at Tuning Zubahor. And he had the Turtle, back in the day, which was just an absolutely dreamy car, and I started getting into the Vortex. It's like, oh,
and that's what sucked me in too, years after you, but yeah.
Right. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
AOL dial-up, ding, 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 ding. Oh shit, I'm on the internet, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this picture. Click.
Wait.
Wait.
But that's where the community was, though. So that's what. So probably, I mean, my dad. I've told it. I've said it on the podcast before, but my dad raced the Mark I GTI. He was the sitting chairman of our local ice racing committee, and it was a pretty big ice racing committee in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. And so, although he was into muscle cars and always had late '60s GM muscle cars, on the weekends I watched him race a Mark I GTI. Or Rabbit.
Well, that's good that your father raised you the correct way.
Yeah. And so I'd always been into Volkswagens. And then to fast forward to Vortex, basically, during my BMX days, I bought a Mark I Rabbit. I dated that for a while. I bought a Mark II GLI that had a full Riger body kit on it, had the 6040 Y-Tech Cup kit.
Yeah.
I've experienced some of the 90s
You're
stuff.
hitting some pretty serious names back in the day that, again, here's where we go back to the organic experience.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, who the hell is Riger?
I bought that car off of a guy that was selling it on Vortex because somebody had put me on when I had my Mark I Rabbit. Someone had put me on the Vortex about a part I needed or something, or some new speed part or something. Right. And so I was like, oh. And so once I got on there, I was like, oh, not only is this a place where I can see photos, like you were saying, like photos of cool Volkswagens. But this is also a place where I can buy parts and like rare or cool,
Right.
go fast parts.
It's a big change. No
And
more
then-
magazines.
Yeah, and then a third, like, yeah, again, now I'm a part of like this. At the time, it felt like more of a family. I mean, now it's obviously just like what the internet is, but yeah, it was like a community. So that's what wrapped me in. So yeah, so I know that language as far as like,
Yeah.
as like, so basically you had this Mark 1, you started to modify it. You
New
got-
speed springs,
Yeah.
Autotech sway bars, Autotech roll bars, Autotech this, Autotech that. Autotech was the Mark 1. And then Dick Shine, who owned Shine Racing, Walpole, Massachusetts,
Yep.
was racing championship Scirocco's at that time. And believe it or not, in a room just down the hall here is my buddy James, who had kind of, I hate to say this, I don't want to sound conceited or arrogant, but, you know, had mentored my kind of like career path.
Yep.
Going to be a master tech at school. That's how I met James. And we started, you know, we shared a love of craft beer. And we would go to Treehouse and we'd talk about cars, and I would tell him about like the stuff I'm doing. He would tell me about the stuff he was doing. He had a Taurus. I had God, I don't remember what I had at the time. Maybe the Jetta or the TDI Passat, one of the many cars I've had in the past couple of years. And we just hit it off and became good friends. And then he saw me leave the dealership and then start a business called the VW Garage.
This was recently then. Okay.
Yeah,
So we
so
fast forwarded a little
I'm
bit.
just,
Yep.
you know, trying to bring some things that tie all this stuff together.
Right.
So anyway, so I start the VW Garage. He sees that and he leaves the dealer, and I said, "Listen, man, if I can do it, you can do it." I did it at $7,000.
Yeah.
You got more than I do. Go. So he starts to shop Bond Sport, and within 2 months, Dick Shine walks into his goddamn room. Well, everybody thinks Dick's dead. For some strange reason, they think the guy that made the best goddamn racing suspension in Mark 1s is dead. He works out of a small Porsche shop in Mass.
Yep.
And Dick comes in and starts talking to him, and the next thing you know, Dick's fucking toolbox is in there. Next thing you know, Dick's tools are in there.
Wow.
70 fucking plus years old, and Dick is back in his shop, and now they're making spherical Mark 4 control arms, spherical Mark 5 control arms, spherical
Cool.
Mark 3 control arms. They're doing all new bar technology. They're going to bring in spring technology again.
Wow.
And they're going to start remanufacturing parts that we had when I was fucking doing this shit, which
Yeah.
is super fucking cool.
That's awesome.
Because that just fast forwards me to what's sitting in the goddamn driveway right now. It's like
Yeah.
the car that I wanted when I didn't have any money.
Right.
You know, you got to remember, everybody, that we all started from fucking nothing.
Yep.
I'm not sitting here because I didn't work hard. I worked hard to be here.
Yep.
I got up every day. I get up at 4 still every day. I get up with the fucking old guys that are staying in the house. They're 70. We're sitting around drinking coffee, talking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 45, but it's, you know, everybody can have the same thing that we all have. You just got to fucking work.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
I
gotta
know it's
want
a
it bad
shitty
enough.
word, but
Yeah.
find your passion
Yep.
and then do it. And that's where my passion was. I come out of the military. I'm like, fuck, I really, really, really like cars. And I started tinkering with them in the garage. And, you know, I'm still working at the kitchen, and I'm dating this girl in Manchester, and I meet this guy. I see this guy's Rabbit GTI, and he had a BBS 3-piece wing on the back. And I was like, oh, man, that part's fucking cool. What is that? Like, I didn't know. So I'm driving by him one day, and I see him. He's getting some groceries out, and I pull up in the parking spot, and I get out of my car all excited to run down and introduce myself to him organically. You know, I can't meet this guy on the internet. I got to go talk to him. So run down, and his back's turned to me, and I'm like, hey, man. And he's like, holy shit. And he drops 2 bottles of soda.
Oh.
And they smash on the ground, and he's all flustered, and he's up against the car. Now, mind you, he's Jamaican, and I'm a white kid
Yeah.
that just ran up on him on his back.
And you're all excited about cars.
All excited about cars, and he thinks I'm like going to
Yeah.
fucking jump him.
Yeah.
You know, so Lance turns around, and he's like, oh, god damn, he startled me. What do you want? What do you want? I'm like, oh, dude, I just want to talk to you about your GTI. I own the black one up the street. He's like, oh, man, I've been checking that out. And we just shake hands, and we become, literally, he's literally, I consider him my brother.
That's awesome.
So, craziest part of Lance, you know, so Lance teaches me how to fix VWs. This is who teaches me.
So this is the
my
beginning
mentor.
of, yep. Yep.
You know, he's 10 plus years older than me. And he's like, I guess he sees something in this fucking stupid kid that's, all wild and crazy and, swears a lot. He's like, hang out at his house, learn how to build really fast Mark 1 motors. And I mean, really fast, like pulling 220 horsepower of a 1.8 liter in the 90s.
Yep.
He's taking and cutting the valves down using Renault valves. These cars are revving at 10 to 12,000 RPM. They're dual carbed. They're serious cars.
Yeah. So who would? How would you have even known this dude that just had a cool wing on his car, and you just ran up to talk to him? That it would
change my life forever.
Yeah, that would turn into such a long path.
Completely changes my life forever. This guy.
Yep.
So best friend in the whole world. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, hang out with them all. North end of Hartford, worst fucking neighborhood in the world. I could drive into that neighborhood and nobody would fucking touch me.
Yeah.
Because they knew I hung out with Lance and Connolly, the two crazy assholes with the Mark 1s that would race behind the fucking high school.
Yeah.
They see a Rabbit GTI come in and they knew I was going to Lance's or Connolly's. And so Lance, I get to know Lance a little better, and I'm like, he's like, hey, what's your last name? So I can put it, write it down on this in my address book, because that's how we kept everybody's phone numbers.
Oh yeah,
on paper. It's Sterling. He goes, just pauses, and he goes, what's your last name? I said Sterling. He goes, that's my last name.
No way.
I'm like, get the fuck out.
That's
of here.
hilarious.
I'm like, there's no way. He's like, no, seriously, here's my ID.
Yeah.
So it's Lance Sterling. I'm Cory Sterling.
That's
He's
hilarious.
black. I'm white. It's whatever. I don't see color when I see him. We fuck around and have a good time.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, how crazy is that? Like a guy that I would have otherwise never met because of cars, I meet because of cars, who then fuels my hobby to turn into my passion, which turns into my job, which now turns into my life.
Yep.
And it's all because of a stupid Volkswagen. And
That's
I say
awesome.
stupid in a loving way.
Yeah. Something that would seem so like feeble to other people. It's just a mode of transportation, but
Right.
to you, it's changed everything.
Never went to school for mechanics, nothing. Now I'm a master VW tech, 20 plus years under my belt, own 3 successful businesses. Enjoy it fully. Love doing the car show stuff, which we get back to now.
Right. But now, fast forward all those years, you became a master tech, worked at a dealership, obviously, and then started your own shop. But all those things aside, if you look at all those things as just the journey, look at what's sitting out in the driveway.
Yeah, that thing's pretty fucking badass.
But that's, you know what I mean? Like, so for those who don't know, and I've already posted a photo of it on Instagram, but I'll post another one after this. But you've got a full ABT Mark III.
Yeah.
Like everything.
I have everything but the wide body on it.
Yeah.
And I have the wide body. The only reason I don't put it on is because they only made a certain limited number of cars that were true Jazz Blue DEs.
Yeah, and that's one
a
of
true
them.
car.
Yeah.
I think it's 250 cars, and that's a true car.
Yeah.
So I play with my inner demons of chopping that car up. Like I haven't even rolled the fenders in it.
Yeah.
And the tires in the rear are cut up, but that's because I didn't roll the fenders, because I'm having a really, and it goes back to what you said to me today about the Century. I'm having a really hard time
like chopping it up,
chopping a car up that's so rare.
Yeah, and so yeah, and even in my walk in the automotive journey or whatever, I've matured into that too, where I want everything as low as possible all the time, and in order to tuck 18s under that Century and still lay frame, which is where I put all the suspension work into. I mean, I put all the work into being able to lay that car on the ground, but the car really needs 18s in my opinion. And if I go up to 18s, it's going to lift the car up off the ground. And so the young kid in me wants to chop everything up so it lays frame.
Right.
But the mature older person of me who appreciates the car for what it is.
Right.
Before I touched it, I'm like, nah, you know what? I
Can't
should
do
just, So I agree with that particular Mark III you have. I'd probably wait till
it's absolutely fine the way it is.
Because if you ever use that body kit on a different car, you can always paint that car Jazz Blue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have a drag car that I sponsor, my buddy Zach Martin. That's a 8-second car.
Wow.
12 valve turbo.
Yep.
Fucking nasty as hell.
Wow.
It'll be at the show tomorrow.
Awesome.
Last minute, just running around like normal, checking with our head cut off, ordering a head gasket, ordering this, ordering that, put the motor back together. The whole car was rebuilt this year, shell and everything, because last year he tore the subframe completely out of the firewall. I was pulling it from the firewall out of the car. If he had made one more
From
pass, he would have
torque?
wrecked it.
Wow.
Yeah, he would have. It would have been
wow.
bad. So
I mean,
somebody was looking out for him then.
People forget about that kind of stuff though. Like those front wheel drive cars,
They're pulling the car.
the wheels, the motor, transaxle, axles, wheels are attached to a subframe that just
attached
bolts
to the firewall.
It's just bolts that are like holding it to the actual car.
Right.
So
it's pulling the whole car. You're not pushing it.
Yeah, the whole end game are those bolts.
Right.
Like that's it.
When
like
when you lift at fucking 4,000 RPM and 40 pounds of boost,
yeah,
a lot of shit happens.
yeah.
There's a lot of energy transfer in the front of that car.
And when you look at fail points, when it comes down to like what 6 or not even that many bolts, 6
No.
bolts maybe.
To hold that subframe in, it's 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 6 on
2 in
my
the front
Corvair,
legs,
but
2 in the back legs.
yeah,
I mean, they're M12s,
yeah.
but
Still,
the force of that motor being fixed into that cradle, being fixed into that car, pulled
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking hard, pulling that car so hard to go so fast in that first 60 feet.
yeah, crazy.
It's like the most violent place for a car is the first 60 feet. It tried to tear the front half
yeah.
of the car from the windshield away from the rest of the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is
We
that
had
the
to
car?
throw the fucking car out and start over.
Is that the car you're thinking of putting that ABT kit on, or
No.
you're
But
just thinking of something?
we just painted that jazz blue.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay.
So you
Yeah.
can paint anything you want, right? Obviously.
Exactly.
But I
Yeah.
am looking for a clean Mark III that I will potentially put that wide body on.
Do you know my buddy Ross Couples? RossVW.com.
Oh, yeah. Ross VW.
So I gave the plug out to anyone listening. Go to RossVW.com.
Don't go to Ross VW.
So,
I'd like to buy a stuff at a better rate than what you're going to run it up to.
well, he is in the process of trying to sell a lot of stuff.
Yes,
he
he's
just
got a
sold
lot
all
of
the
stuff.
He just sold all the Harlequins. He had each base color,
Yeah.
and his first brand new car he ever bought. I think he might have been 18 or 19, but the first new car he ever bought was a Harlequin. So he still has that one. But then he bought 4 of all the different base
Different
colors.
colors,
And he recently sold those. He's been selling a bunch of stuff. I've bought a couple cars off him. That right-hand drive Polo Derby I had, that
Yep.
red one, I bought off him. I had a right-hand drive Mark II bread van for a little bit. My buddy Rob, who was here last year in the Mark I Polo, the German Mark,
Yeah, the gray one.
the silver one, gray. That was one of Ross's cars. Well, anyway, Ross has, what were
Don't
we?
say it.
What were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about
Mark
painting
IIIs.
cars. Oh, Mark IIIs. Yeah. No, I
Don't
think
say it.
I think he's sold this one. I think he sold
Okay.
this one. So he had a 4-door. Now he owns a used car dealership.
Yeah.
But like used as in like still under factory warranty used. Like
Right.
2000 at this point, maybe like
17 and newer.
and 19 or something.
Yeah, 17 newer.
Yeah, and it's mostly like Hondas and RAV4s and like just good daily driver stuff. But he gets a lot of trade-ins for these cars. And over the years, he's only, I don't know, maybe he's 39 or 40. He might be 40 now. I don't remember. He's between you and I think. And he met up with me for coffee one day, and he was driving this like burgundy 4-door Mark III Golf, and with like tan cloth interior, like your quintessential base
GL.
model.
That
But this thing was
fond memories
it
in
was
the
brand new. It was,
burgundies.
He comes pulling in the parking lot. It's a brand new car. Like all the black plastic on the cladding and the bumper, and it's all perfect. It's not like that like gray. It's like still black.
Right.
And he pulls in, and I'm like, what? And it's on the Steelies, and I'm like, where did this come from? The shop he keeps, or the building he keeps all his cars in, like 38 of them. He has probably 50 or 60 cars, but 35 or so of them are in a building down the street from my house. And I've got a key to the place. I'm basically the dude that like,
All right, we got to go.
you should probably
go.
see him.
Let's just
go.
go.
Well, he pulls in this Mark III, and I'm like, I hadn't seen it yet. Basically what I'm getting at is I know what he's got. I just know what he's got. And I'm like, where did this come from? And he's like, someone traded it in like 2 days ago. And I'm like, what? Because yeah, some lady bought a brand new in 94, 93, 95, whatever it was. And I'm like, what? Like how many? He goes, yeah, come over. Let's look at, and I look at the odometer, and it's got like 22,000 miles on it. I'm like, it's automatic. It says base models again.
Doesn't matter.
Right. So I know that he probably paid nothing for this car. And I was like, so I'll give you $2,000 for it right now. Cause I know for sure.
Yeah,
you
Ross
got like,
started laughing, didn't
I'm
he?
like, you've got like $800 into this thing.
Right.
And cause, I figured he would. I figured he'd be like, all right, yeah, quick little flip. Cause it's an automatic. It's got roll up windows. It's just like And he literally goes, I think this might be like my like bring a trailer or the like. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I think I'm gonna see like what a Mark III will do because he sold his Harlequins for almost MSRP. I think one went for more than MSRP.
Dude, those cars are insane.
I think he's gonna find that with what Bring a Trailer is doing right now, or the audience that Bring a Trailer is catering to, these people that are clearly not affected by what's going on in our economy right now. But
Yep.
I posted on Instagram. I watched a square body K20 Chevrolet pickup truck.
I saw that one.
84.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it had 500 miles on it, but $84,000. So,
Yeah.
so Ross has a couple, like his thing is OEM, not molested, low mileage cars. That's like his thing. He doesn't like modifying them. He doesn't even like buying cars that have been modified. But anyway, when you said, Mark III, that's the first thing I thought of. But he sold the Harlequins, and I think he sold that burgundy one. But dude, it had 22,000 miles on it. It was brand new.
That's a perfect car.
It
Perfect
really-
donor car to rape.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted
That's
to
what I'm looking for.
I wanted to just daily it. I'm like, I don't even want.
I'm
want
going
to
to daily a wide body. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. But it was a rust-free, clean shell, and you're not ruining like a GTI or a Harlequin.
Right.
It's a base model.
Right.
I don't see any issues with taking a car that clean. I mean, mileage. It's almost like the mileage is almost at the point where you're like, if it was like 12,000 miles, I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna putt around like once a month in this car to go get coffee and keep it as low mileage as possible. But yeah, 20,000. I think you're at the point where you're like, nah, like this is a good shell. We can make something cool out of this.
Yeah.
But-
It's like, so the blue car out there is like ridiculous. Like I bought that car from a very good friend for very cheap, $5,000 with supercharger on it.
Oh, so it wasn't stock when you bought it.
No, it was
like an
lowered.
enthusiast car. Yeah.
It was lowered on some crap suspension, probably Jam-X or something at the time, because you got to remember this is way back then. Jam-X was like the shit, like PSS 10 now or KWV3s.
VMAX. I remember when I put VMAX coilovers on a B3 wagon I had 12 years ago.
Yeah, that's why you're
like,
sore.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
Like all these kids riding around in the, what the fuck are those? The Raceland.
Racelands, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I put Racelands in my Volkswagen that I had in 2010, and I put them in the Derby. And here's why: because the Fox and Polo suspensions are like the Audi 4000s,
Right.
where the
tie rod ends
the steering
attached to
rack's
the
on the
steering.
firewall,
Right.
and the strut assembly is one piece with the knuckle, and your tie rod mount comes up off your strut body. So I built coilovers for the Fox and for the Derby, and had to fabricate a steering arm up off the strut body. So I was gonna have to weld the strut bodies, and I converted to a early Mark II knuckles on the Fox, and on the Polo I converted to Mark I knuckles. So I had to. Luckily, the Fox, and this is a Volkswagen tech tip here. The Volkswagen Fox shares the same outer CV joint spline count and OD as the early Mark II
16
hubs.
valves.
8 valves too.
8 valves too.
Yep, because I went to a junkyard and I found, but you know what I didn't know is between 85 and like 88 or 87, this was a real weird dark hole Volkswagen. They had different wheel bearing sizes.
Yes.
But not from small to big bumper cars. It was like between 85 and like 86
I think
or
it was
87.
just used up stock.
I think so. And so, but I found that out because it made a difference with whether or not the Fox axle was going to work inside the hub of the Mark II knuckle. So I had to find like 85 or 86 Mark II knuckles, not smaller big bumper ones. And so I didn't have to mess with my axles because those axles went right through the spindle and knuckle and hub essentially of the early Mark IIs.
So then you just slam the suspension in.
And the brakes are I don't remember which way, if I remember correctly.
Fox, I think, are mounted backwards.
They're opposite from what a Mark I and Mark II
Right,
are.
Mark IVs or Mark I and Mark IIs are mounted to the forward part of the braking system.
Yeah, so the Foxes were behind.
Foxes are on the back side of the braking system.
So I swapped my hubs.
Yeah.
So I ran knuckles on the opposite sides. I ran
Right.
driver's side from the Mark II and the passenger side Fox. And so now my brakes were clocked or keyed in the right position. And then, but I didn't have to mess with my axles. The only real fabrication involved was welding to the coilovers, making the tie rod plate.
Right.
Ackerman angle was all off on the Fox because I didn't understand an Ackerman angle. I didn't understand that. I 90 degreed the tie rod plate to my hub on the strut assembly, and it made the steering in that car like super tedious. I mean, you could steer that car with just minimal.
Yeah.
So when you hit a bump,
You had to offset those fucking arms a little bit onto the strut.
Yes, and I didn't understand that. So when I did the Derby, I still didn't have like calculations. I didn't.
We just move them in a little bit so when you're looking at the suspension forward from the driver's seat, those upper mounting points should be in just a little bit to give it a little inner toe.
Right.
So that when you steer the car, it's not steering directly from the center.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're steering from the inside. So when you have to push the strut to get the wheel to turn.
Exactly. So when it was zeroed on, I accounted for it with my alignment.
Right.
But then
that's where the adjustment is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what people don't understand. It's funny you even bring that up. It's like you can move where your tie rod mounts, but the reason the tie rod mounting area always swings back in towards the car is because you want to have that car.
When you drive, it moves.
The wheel moves to the outwards. Yes, and that's what toe is. But when you canter, your tie rod ends in, and it's trying to explain it without visually seeing it. But you're sitting in the driver's seat. It's the tie rod mounting point comes more towards your left foot. Instead of being centered in the middle of the wheel well, it's inset, maybe 20 degrees. If you put it on this dead center, it's like you said, you could literally steer that thing with a fucking string.
Yeah, well, this Fox was like that.
As soon as you just bump the wheel a little bit, dude, you could be doing a 360.
Yep. Yeah, and the Fox is real responsive, like delicately responsive. And I realized that it also aggressively changed my alignment if I raised the car just a little bit. If I went up like 3 turns on the coilovers,
when you raised it up, the back of the wheels tilt out.
Yeah, more aggressively.
Right.
Yeah. So with the Derby, the two cars were built like 8 years apart from each other. But I remembered the Fox being real tedious, and I had understood in the years past or after that
what to
about
do.
Ackerman angle and stuff. So the Derby was still pretty aggressively responsive, but not as fine as the Fox was. But anyway. Yeah, I had realized that the Fox axles would work with the hubs and all that. With the Polo, unfortunately, the Mark I knuckles had different. And I dove in. I mean, even when I was in England, because I go over every year, I was looking for early 1 liter Mark I knuckles because those had smaller. Those were the same as the Polos, but all the US spec Rabbits
didn't come with them.
With like the 1.5 and up that we got had the larger knuckles, larger brakes.
They all had the 1.8 brakes.
Yes. So
they never had a 1.4 or the Polo 1.1 or the Polo 1.0,
which they did get in the Mark I chassis in Europe.
Right.
So essentially it came down to, got to make axles now. So cut axles, pinned and doweled them, balanced them.
That's all you got to do. And weld them around and balance them.
Yep. And I haven't really told this story too much on the podcast, so I guess it's not too redundant. But a friend of mine who owns a Shelby Cobra shop up the street from me is a machinist, and guy's just a walking wizard. And I thought it was going to be, he helped me, machine and TIG weld them up and stuff, and I had my hands on each process, but he was kind of like the overseer,
right, guiding you through the steps.
Tooling up the Bridgeport, tooling up the lathe, and all that stuff. And then I was nervous about balancing. I'm like, well, how are we going to balance this? And he's like, well, you've got CV joints on each end, so you've got a lot of forgiveness there. They move in and out.
Put it on a lathe.
That's what
we
did.
Out the high spots.
We did. We put it on the lathe, and we hammered out any visual high spots with a lead hammer, and then we spun it, and we continued this process until there was no vibration in the machine when it was spinning. So it just spun. You just put your hand on it, and it was like, that one's good.
Perfect.
So
just fucking peel out a little bit here and a little bit there.
That's all we did. I put it in the car. I assembled everything and went down the road, and from 0 to max speed or whatever,
miles an hour.
55. I ran 13s on it.
I was giving you some
credit.
And
it was an 895 cc Derby. Yeah, it was a 900 cc. But no, smooth as glass. And it was no problem. But But yeah, that was a fun project. Those two cars, definitely quirky. But anyway, coming up full circle to why we got on that subject, those are the two cars I had Racelands in because I knew I was going to be welding to them.
Right.
And I figured if I keep the car long enough and I hate the ride quality, I'll just
disassemble it and use something good.
Well, I'll keep the bodies, but I'll
Change the
revalve
shocks.
it and I'll get different spring rates.
Right.
Or whatever. But I didn't, as obviously everybody knows, I didn't keep the cars long enough to even go.
I still have a rabbit pickup truck that's on full air ride. That's been C-notched.
Yep.
It's on a pan hard bar in the back. Drop leaves. Front strut housings have been raised all the way up to match the hood. And you can still close the hood. Notch frame and everything. That car lays frame. Completely lays it. That car is 15 years old.
Awesome.
And it uses a 10-wire switch box from a lowrider.
Yep.
It uses 3/4-inch hydraulic valves that use to switch water from one spot to another on pneumatic machines.
Yep.
I got all the valves for free.
Oh, did you build the truck?
Yeah, I built the truck and I built the full air ride system before air ride was really a big thing. You
Right.
know, I was looking at what the lowriders were doing. I was in, believe it or not, a Spanish car club growing up.
Yeah.
With a BMW. That was a very short period of time out of the military. I had a 320 with a full BBS kit, automatic, cool car, leather interior. And I became a member of the Spanish, lowrider group because I had, the fucking hammer, the American Racing hammers on it, all polished out, black windows.
Yep.
Slammed down on the BBS body kit, tinted windows, window guards, chrome fender trim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been in every asset. I don't say asset. What the fuck is the word I want to say?
Facet.
Every facet.
Yeah.
Sorry. Weed brain.
Well, it's almost dinner time, so we're getting hungry.
Every facet of automotive. So I appreciate Asian, cars, the Asian culture with cars. I appreciate the Puerto Rican culture with Toyota, Mazda.
Oh yeah.
I was around B13 building RX-7 rotary motors. I was a Mazda tech before I was a Volkswagen tech.
Yeah.
I was a master Mazda tech. I became a master Mitsubishi tech while working for Volkswagen.
Oh, wow.
I didn't become a master Volkswagen tech till very late in my career. I finally got my official master certification maybe 3 years ago.
I was going to say that was recent.
4 years ago.
I remember
I was recognized for it by Volkswagen, but I had to work at the dealer, which was very painful for me.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because you can't be creative.
Yeah.
I like to be creative, and to just jump to your suspension stuff, the Mark III out there is narrowed 1 inch in the front.
Yep. Control arms, axles.
Control arms, axles, a lot of
tie rods.
6 months worth of mathematics and finding the right manufacturers and figuring out and going to the junkyards during a pandemic, nonetheless, that are closed.
Oh, so you narrowed that recently?
Yeah, narrowed it during the pandemic.
Yep.
I wanted to run my Porsche brakes on my ABT wheels because I went from the Kinesis K57s to the ABT A9s that were originally Chris Giacovini, who is a massive name in the Mark III community. If anybody knows Chris Giacovini, they know he kind of set the pace with VW Sport. Brad Bordeaux, Adrian, all those guys, George, Korn, there's now Audi. There's a lot of really great older people my age that, I rubbed the wrong way coming up because I'm a loudmouth punk and I'm an asshole. But I mean well, and it's a lot of people say, I thought you were an asshole at first. Then I got to know you and I realized how big of a heart you have. Not tuning my own horn, but getting to know who I really am, the grits and the gravy of who I am.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, kids, and I don't want to steer the conversation back into this, but kids who, whether or not it was Alpine Vagfair, in Helen or anywhere where kids just see your presence on the internet basically being no BS or that's it for you type thing.
Yeah, that's the way I am.
Well, I mean, to someone who doesn't know you, it paints that picture where they're like, ugh,
he's a badass.
I don't want to run into that guy. But then you sit down at a table or over dinner, a bunch of people, and you're talking numbers, and you're talking about, because half these kids, those kids that were in the static Mark IV Jettas. Those
yeah.
Those are I don't know
my
them.
favorite.
I don't know them personally. And again, I don't want to open this can of worms. But those kids follow me on Instagram, and so I saw that whole thing kind of unfold. They're gearheads, like they're total gearheads.
Oh, I know they are.
But this is my only point bringing those kids up is they've like raised the subframes in their cars, and they've like figured out, they want to be as low as possible, and they like. So I know for sure, even though you guys butted heads on the internet, if they sat down and listened to you talk about how you narrowed the front end in your Mark III and stuff, they'd be like. More. Tell me more.
We had a conversation in the parking lot while I'm yelling at them because they're out beating the shit out of the subframes off the ground.
I know it. Yeah,
and listen, I don't make the fucking rules.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but you're on air or you're static. Dude, just for the fucking weekend and for my own mental fucking sanity of being fucking yelled at by people that are much bigger than you.
Right.
Just do me a favor, Lord, raise it up.
Yeah. Well, and again, I didn't want to get into that can.
No, they're good kids because I ended up talking to a couple of them, 2 of them, and I was like,
I just basically mean, kids who face value is everything.
Everybody's ready to shoot the messenger nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but basically you saying. Like, listen, like once you get through that hard exterior, I'm kind of a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the first thing I thought of, where it's like,
I'll give you the goddamn shirt off my back. But I've done that.
Yeah, those kids would love to sit down and listen to you tell the story about that caddy that you've built and that ABT Mark III sitting out front.
And this goes back to what I said earlier. You got to just listen.
Oh, yeah.
I might be the rough guy from the 50s that I look up to my grandfather who was a no shit guy.
Yeah, same.
He fucking chased me around the yard with a table saw, threatening to cut my arm off because I was fucking with him. I kept unplugging the table saw, and he goes, "You do it again, I'm gonna plug it in. I'm gonna cut your fucking arm off." So I did it again. Yeah. See if he was gonna. He was gonna cut my arm off.
Yeah.
But he was a hard-blooded Italian. He sat on his chair. If you mess with him, he'd get up, and that was it. It's over. I was beaten as a kid.
Yeah.
Do I think kids should be beaten now? Sure.
Well,
I'm not talking about beaten.
Yeah.
But like if I whacked with a spoon or hit with the side of the head with a fucking newspaper.
Well, if I disrespected my mother when I was a child, my dad's belt came off.
Yeah, I got hit with the belt all the time.
I can count on one hand. Yep, probably just one hand. The amount of times that I disrespected my mother, and my dad's belt came off. Because it didn't take more than a couple of times of that happening to where I was like, it straightened me out.
Here, let me tell you. I used to watch to see what belt my dad wore that day, and I knew whether or not I wanted to piss him off. Because if he was wearing the web belt, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
The nylon belt. But if he was wearing the leather one, man, fuck. I didn't mess with him.
My dad always had a leather belt on.
God damn, he'd wear that leather belt, and he had a big brass knuckle on the side of it, the buckle.
Yeah.
I would just look at my brother and be like, don't piss him off.
Yeah, and so that's a whole different conversation.
We'd pick and choose our battles.
But yeah, I didn't get that maniacal about it. But
told you I was a bad kid.
Oh yeah, I feel like I was a good kid. But I was a kid. I was a young boy. You know what I mean? So I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to take direction.
I was just full of energy.
Yeah, I knew everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say that now, and I say to the kids, it's like, just listen. Like, I have no problem sharing the information, the wealth I have, and I've get thousands of DMs a month from people that just see a project I might be working on, and they want to ask me some questions about it. And I've met a lot of people in this industry that snub that off, like I don't want to share that information. But it's like, like I was saying about Dick Shine, look him up, Shine Racing. I mean, he was a leader in the market. Like, there's a lot to learn from a 74-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Like, why does this society discard the people that are older? Like, you can learn about World War II still. You can learn about Korean War, Vietnam War,
for
the hippies,
for not much longer.
The Revolution, Rosa Parks, John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Like, there's a lot of massive history that's walking around amongst you every single day.
Well, even guys that are in the same community that you're in. I mean, maybe not Shine specifically, but like some of these guys that you might look up to, like the old timer down the street that you just realized has been building hot rods his whole life, but he just always stays in the garage. But he's educated, like he was a Vietnam vet, and he's like a history major.
There's a guy right around the corner from our shop that I never knew existed. I saw a couple Land Rovers out there, so I pulled in, I knocked on the door, opened it up, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm in the Mecca. You've got to be kidding me. I'm in the Mecca. I open the door, and there's all these classic Mopar cars, spherical heads laying everywhere, motorcycles tore apart, cars in a paint booth. I'm like, this is like an old shithole building.
Yeah.
And it's got like old pan heads and old knuckleheads and all this crazy old parts and Springer front ends and like.
I love those stories. There's the guy that I got my 700 from, that little BMW. He's up in the woods in New Hampshire and
is this the guy that's got all the BMW 2002s?
Steve, have you met or talked to him?
Yeah, dude. How did you get a car off of him?
I'm glad you asked that, because anyone else who knows Steve, that's the
I
first
can't
thing,
get a car off of him.
That's the first thing they always say where'd you get the 700? And these are from friends of mine in like Connecticut.
Dude, he's got some badass BMWs out back of that building.
Dude, he's got some stuff.
Yeah, and that's not even a quarter of it.
No.
There's a field somewhere
with
300 plus cars in it.
He crushed over 100 cars back during the Cash for Clunkers thing.
Yeah,
and he regrets it now, but he's got almost 100 cars at his house, which is in the middle of the woods. But he's got a second location.
So the place, his garage, isn't his house.
Yeah, it's his house.
Okay,
there's a trailer next door, and it's, I don't think he'll ever listen to this. The guy is just the smartest. I mean, he's a walking wealth of knowledge. But it appears, and I still think he's got more to him than what meets the eye financially. But it looks like he lives in strict poverty.
It seriously looks like he's a hobbit.
Yeah, so he lives in this like
he's got
half
two
fallen apart trailer,
912s out front.
Yeah, that are like all together,
very salvageable,
rust free.
Yeah, rust free, like all the chrome on them, like
so
$60,000 cars sitting there.
He's got a lot of stuff, but he's got a second location that not even I've been to, and it's only because, and he's not well at all.
No, he seems a little off.
And actually, and he's sick. He's got a bad spine. He has to drive to Maine every week for trigger point injections, and he's not in a good way at all. And his doctor says he's not long for this world, basically. And so I'm glad you kind of know who he is.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He's always wearing Chuck Taylors.
So yeah. Well, he's lived a real interesting life. And to be honest, I'd love to have him on the podcast. I'd love to get him like out of his house and get him like sat down with me, because
once you get him talking,
the stories. Yeah, if you get him on a good day, because I've been with him for all the days. So I've seen him on his worst. I've seen him when he's really upset, when he's in a lot of pain, and best of all, when he's having a good day and he just wants to listen and tell stories and all that.
Oh yeah, he kept me going for 2 hours.
So so he's one of those kind of guys where you drive, if it wasn't for the amount of stuff he has in his yard, you'd never know like how sharp this guy really is. And so I won't go through the whole story of acquiring the 700. I can tell you that off air, because I've talked about this story on the podcast before, and I'm actually going to do like a 700 episode, and I'm going to tell the whole thing, all the details and all that, from day one to when my dad and I trailered his tractor out there. We brought gas-powered air compressors, we brought weed whackers, chainsaws, axle dollies, go jacks, plywood, planking, ratchet straps. We had to move 8 immovable cars to even get to the 700. I know where
you got that car from.
And it was just rotted into the ground. Trees were going into it and out of it. It had been there.
I know where it was.
It was there for like 20 years. And it had sat in a yard in Sandwich, New Hampshire, behind a barn for 10 or 15, maybe even 20 years before Steve even got it. So this thing had just been rotting in the ground for 40 some odd years before I even got it. And so anyway, we went out there and it was like a production. We had to move all these cars that wouldn't hold air and they wouldn't roll, but do it delicately.
Buried into the ground.
Because Steve had guys destroy stuff, moving stuff before. So Steve was very, very, and I didn't befriend him to get something out of him.
No.
Same deal. I didn't think anything was acquirable. I
just wanted to see it. It's like a goddamn museum over there.
It's insane.
There is some fucking serious metal.
And that's why I'm not even going to say where
I am.
New Hampshire,
No, you are not getting that information. Sorry.
But anyway, so we went over there and we had to extract this car out of there. So anyway, long story short, the deal was, I told him, I said, I pled my case. I just said, listen, Steve, I've heard the rumors. I know you don't like selling anything. And he wanted me to help him start to get a list of things together that he was okay with selling, because he's afraid that he's going to be gone here someday soon. So he actually wanted me to help him, to help him liquidate some stuff. And so I said, well, I want that 700. I said, but here's the deal. And he had seen my Corvair so he knows that I'm into like that preservation type thing.
Right.
I said, that car could live again. I said, that just put it on a Beetle pan. Like, obviously, it took way more work, but I was just saying that. I'm like, dude, that thing on a Beetle pan, just drive it just the way it is. Clean the windows and just drive it. And Steve's first thing Steve said was, well, there's a Beetle right over there. It was sitting next to a Beetle. And I was like, he gets it. He's on the wavelength. Like, he gets it.
Right.
So I played with that. And every time I'd see him, I'd be like, well, anyway, I went back like a week later and I was like, Steve, I can't stop thinking about that 700. I said, I've always wanted one. I've never even seen one in person. Like I would be honored to own that car.
Right.
I said, and I will drive it here.
And you can take it for a rep.
Well, yeah, with his back, he wouldn't be able to get in it. But anyway, long story short, a year later, which was last summer, I drove it to him. It's like an hour from my house. I drove it to him. He had no idea we were coming. And I pulled up in this 700 that sat out in the backyard in the woods of his house, rotting in the ground for decades. And I'm driving it up. It's on Bluetooth operated air suspension. And,
yeah.
and you know what I mean? Like we caught him on a good day and he was tickled to death. He's smiling ear to ear. And he was luckily my buddy Steve went with me and he got photos of Steve like leaning in the car, looking at it and stuff. But yeah, so anyway, he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that you'd never know.
A 21 window.
Oh, yep.
Sitting outside.
He's got a splitty single cab transporter out there. Here's the thing though. The second location is he's got a building with cars inside.
I know.
So he's got cars. Like there's a rumor. I don't know if it's a 64, but he's got a real early 911. And it might be a first year 911.
He does have a first production 911.
And if it's not a 64, it's like a 5 or 6. But it's
I think it's a 66.
It's real early, and it's
perfect,
and it's runnable. Yeah, it's like not like concourse, but it's all together, and it's.
He bought that. So he told me the story that he bought that after high school. It was his first Porsche that he ever bought.
He's had a long time. Yeah,
and he's the original owner.
It's crazy.
It was stored in a container. And then it was put into storage at his flat tires.
Yeah.
And he's been offered somewhere around the range of $200,000 for this car.
Back
during
a couple years ago. Yeah.
Height of everything.
Some guy from California offered him stupid money for those 912s, which was still stupid money.
$68,000 for both of them, and he didn't take it.
Yeah. So you did talk to him recently too, because he said he was offered like $30,000 a piece on them, and I was like, and it's hard to judge those guys, because they'll be trying to drive the point home to you that it's not for sale. So sometimes they'll add a couple 10 or 20 grand
to get the car away from.
Yeah, to basically be like, well, I've been offered that and I still won't sell it. And so you're like, well, I won't even make an offer then.
Yeah, that's what I said when he told me.
Because those 912s, they're not in the condition they're in. They're not $30,000 a piece.
They're $10,000, $12,000 cars.
I wanted to give him 10 for one of them.
Yeah, I want the red one. So step off.
For me, I don't care which one I get. But my buddy Robert, who owns Loof Technic in Richmond, knows him as well, or kind of knows of him. But Robert, it's a Porsche specific shop, and I'll text Robert and I'll be like, "Would 10, is 10K smart on that 912?" And he goes, "Just don't text me anything like this ever again. Get your head out of that space." And go work on like your cab over or something, because he knows that like once my brain starts, I'm like, I could buy that car, and he goes, "Listen, you're in for a world of hurt. Trying to restore that car."
Oh yeah.
Like, you don't want.
You have no fucking idea what you're doing.
Well,
there.
I do, but
that's like, here, John. I know you don't drink, you don't do drugs, but just try this heroin.
Try this.
Try this
see
heroin.
What happens. Get this hook in your lip.
Go ahead and just take it. Just a tip.
Yeah.
That's all you need. It's just the tip of the heroin.
So I kept telling Robert, I'm like, well, we could put it on a Beetle pan, and then it's all Volkswagen. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Robert's like, all right, click.
Yeah.
I've had enough of your shit today, John.
He's pretty funny. He's like, when it comes to early Volkswagen and early Porsche, he's like my. He's like,
they got that sick 3-liter. Is it a 3-liter turbo bus they have?
Yeah, the Porsche bus.
The Porsche bus.
Yeah, that's a 3.2, 3.6.
3.6 turbo bus.
It's a 993 motor.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a 993.
Yeah, that'll do 50.
I've been in it, and it scoots. That thing is straight pipes, spits 3 feet of flame between gears. I mean, it's gnarly.
Yeah, they're really good bunch of dudes down there.
They're the best. I mean, do you know Greg Kesar?
No, I don't know.
He's from Maryland. He's one of Robert's buddies. He's a photographer, an automotive photographer. I mean, you know Brett Sloan, right?
Yeah, I know Brett.
Sloan Cars. So Brett's a part of like their whole crew as well.
I'm gonna buy a 911, and it's probably either gonna be in that Viper green or something blue close to my Jazz blue car.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want that 968.
That green one. Have you seen the green one that Brett has? Brett has a green.
Yeah, I
green,
know
like
he
a
does.
68 maybe. It's like
Yeah.
it's like an early
We've
one.
talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Brett's
need to
got
go
some
down
cool
to
stuff.
Sloan and check the cars out.
I haven't seen him in a while. I just made him some key rings back a few months ago. Some Sloan cars, key rings, and last time I saw him was Amelia Island, I think, a couple years ago with the Lufttechnik crew. I flew into Richmond and we hauled the Porsche bus and the Stuka, that 911 with the World War I aviation like Tetris kind of paint scheme to it.
Yeah.
We trailered those down for the cars and coffee down there. But met up with Brett. Brett had a couple commission cars going across the auction block, but Greg and a bunch of other guys in the area. Robert's got a lot of really cool stuff on the burners right now. But anyway, I mean, we're into this an hour and a half. We can talk about the show a little bit more. VW
Yeah,
Garage,
let's get to the show.
And we can yeah. I mean,
so it all started with H2O. You know, that was really the pivot to where I'm at now. So I ended up insulting Jay Shoup, who is really the founder of H2O.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's some other people that are involved, but whatever. Insulting him about the judging.
At this point, were you helping Jay with the show?
No, this first year I did not help him with the show.
Okay.
I went to the Lime Rock ones. I went to the third one, and I bitched about the judging because it was a fucking shit mess.
Third one was the first one down in Maryland.
Ocean Downs.
Okay, so for everyone listening that either has not been to an actual H2O or people from
20
overseas,
plus years ago.
Yeah, it's been going on for at least 20 years.
Pretty close to 20 years.
I feel like the first
19 to
one was
20
like
years.
98 or something. Yeah.
I left on 13.
Yep. And then so it's known for being in Ocean City, Maryland, and obviously
Yes.
the last couple of years it tried to make an attempt at Atlantic City, and I don't even know if it's still going on there. But anyway, back in the early day.
Back in the early days. So I bitched to Jay about the judging. I'm like, this fucking bullshit. You know, he's like, fuck you. Here's your money back, or you can help. And I'm like, okay, be there next year to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when I met Penny. So it was Jay and Penny. Penny really was the bones of H2O. Jay was kind of like the background face and idea guy behind it. He was the marketing artist. Penny was the financial end of it. And so I sign on with him, and I'm helping him, and he puts us up in a house. Can you bring any friends? I'm like, yeah, staff the whole fucking thing, dude. No problem.
Yeah.
So we show up, and we're putting up, rows and rows of fence at Ocean Downs. And we're doing it pretty much volunteer work, and then Penny's paying us, and I'm like, it's whatever. We're staying at the house. We could do a whole hour or 5 hours worth of all the fucking crazy bullshit that we would do behind the scenes. But it became, after the first year, I had this passion for it, and it just became natural for me to show up. Jay knew what he wanted me to do. I knew what I needed to do, and I started doing it. And then I started to slowly take over more and more responsibility with it. And Jay started to step back more and more and more. And there were some problems developing later on. This is 5, 6, 7 years going out. I started to see the way the scene started to change. I started to see the internet affecting the car show scene. These other car makes, and we're seeing all these VW and Audi people having a good time. Let's go down there and try and race them. That's how it all started. Let's go down and race them. And I would step up constantly, and I would say to Jay, listen, dude, we got to get a fucking handle on this. He's like, fuck that. All the time it was, fuck this. Don't want to talk to you about it. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to make money regardless. And I mean, H2O, the last time I worked the show, it made $275,000.
Oh, I believe it.
I mean, he's renting Ocean Downs for nothing.
Yeah.
He's renting the campgrounds, fuck's sakes, for like less. I think it was $5 to $6 grand. That's nothing.
Sure.
I mean, he's charging APR fucking $3 grand to be
just
there
for the booth. Yeah.
He's charging fucking Volkswagen. Okay, Volkswagen. Why the fuck? Do event people charge the car company that's coming to their show?
Yeah, Volkswagen's going to be a part of it.
They're going to be a part of you. Dude, that's dream.
Yeah.
And you're going to fucking charge them.
Yeah. Just because
what are you doing this for? Like this is where it starts to irritate me. What are you doing it for? Because that's not what I do it for.
It was about the money, obviously.
Oh, so it was all about the money. And I mean, we had a massive falling out over some bullshit. I got tired of his bullshit. He ended up bringing in another guy that was willing to, work with him.
Right.
I'm not going to say because I'm friends with him.
Yeah.
I am friends with that person. But Jay, I don't talk to. He isn't, when he made that statement about, you're ruining this for the community and everything else. You're not actually fucking part of the community. The disaster for me was the time we did it at the Christian school that he couldn't be found because he was too busy out hanging out with an underage girl.
Oh.
I've
heard all those stories.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, calling him on the radio, nobody could be found. The girl that he hires, he's always hiring these women to do all his stuff for him. That would end up being more than just doing all the stuff for him. And I'm not going to say I was no friggin' angel down in H2O. I was a dickhead. I wasn't very happy in my marriage, and I'm not going to go into that, but I was a dickhead. But I wasn't a dickhead to my community.
Right.
I didn't let my community down. Didn't let the people that were working with me down. I always stood behind them. And those guys are in the other room.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of guys over there that come in here and tell you some fucking crazy ass stories.
Yeah, you were trying to get them all to come in here before we even started recording. I was like, we don't have the time.
And some of those guys in that other room are still friends with Jay because they're not jaded like that. But I'm jaded because I got guys that are picking up kids' diapers without gloves because he couldn't find gloves because he wasn't around, and they were picking up trash.
Yeah.
And then when the awards came out, the girl only did the top dog stuff. She didn't have all the 97 classes all done. So now I'm trying to fix all this while he's just nowhere to be found. And I've got the deacon of the church talking to me about the offensive material. I can't get a hold of Jay. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it's just ridiculous. And at that point, it was really the kind of turning point for me. I mean, I had at that point my own show. I had wanted a summer H2O. It was a joke between me, Dave Graff, a couple guys at NGP about always wanting to have a summer H2O.
Yeah.
Like, why do we always have to wait till September? Why can't we have a pregame party? And Jay's like, if you want to fucking do it, just fucking do it. I don't care. But I did that out of respect for him. I wanted his blessing out of respect to do a show of my own that I actually help him with his, and I didn't want him to feel like I was taking away from his show.
Right. Yep.
So I started Vagfair, and that was started on the toilet. The whole name was started on the toilet. I did my best thinking, my best design work on the toilet.
I think most of us guys do.
I mean, Ethan from 8380 will tell you, every year we were like, all right, let's brainstorm about Vagfair, and I'll just call him out of the blue in January and be like, I got the design. He's like, oh yeah, what it is? I'm like, he's like, God damn, that's pretty damn good. Like
awesome.
The COVID shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the COVID shirt that 8380 did. I did a COVID shirt.
Yeah.
Because, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was, herpes, no. This, no. This, no. Remember all the different sexual diseases, and then at the bottom, COVID positive, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of flipped that idea, and I was like, oh, Mark III, proper wheels. Yes. Proper suspension. Yes. Proper body parts. Yes. COVID-19, negative.
Right. Exactly.
And it was a cool play on it. It was a great shirt, and it sold real well. And I'm happy that people enjoyed that logo design. It kind of lighten the mood in the beginning of the pandemic.
Right.
Let's have some fun with this. Let's not forget that we're still going to have car shows.
Yeah.
So I leave H2O. Bad terms. Real bad.
Yeah. I've heard those stories too.
Fuck you, Jay. Fuck you, Jay. Whatever. I've tried to talk to him and just try to make amends with him.
Yeah.
Because I kind of regret the way things split. But there's a lot going on in both our lives. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff going down, and I didn't like the way he was treating the scene. And then when he made that post about how everybody's ruined it for him, and I was like, no, actually, nobody ruined it for you, but your fucking self, because you're so goddamn selfish. You wouldn't stand up and say something. You didn't stand up. Like, I feel that I need to stand up and say to people, don't be a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you come, but just don't be a dickhead. Don't do burnouts. Don't fucking two-step your car. I don't fucking care. Don't drag your car around. Don't be destructive to property. Pick up your trash.
Right.
don't be a fucking jerk off. Don't be racing everybody. Don't disrespect the police. Like, everybody's so pissed off the police beat the shit out of them. Yeah, there are bad cops. I'm not discrediting that. But cops necessarily leave you the fuck alone if you don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
When you're speeding and you see a cop on the highway, do you go right past them speeding and give them the finger? No, you fucking slow down.
Yeah, I was going to say, at your run-of-the-mill car show, it's pretty easy to just
toe the fucking mark.
Yeah,
I had Court, that fucking idiot that got on the track and ripped around the track. He had a couple cars on the way out, actually hit a person and wrecked a car.
Yeah.
That's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, there's fucking kids here.
Yeah.
These things that we're doing them because I have a passion for them.
Right.
I like seeing people's faces. I like hearing their stories. I like seeing what they've done to the car. I like to see the organic matter. I want to see real organic matter.
Yeah.
Nick with his golf and Rachel with her golf. She's surviving cancer.
Right.
You know, Nick is ultra creative. Joe Booth, ultra creative.
Mm-hmm.
Philip up in Canada, ultra creative. Like, you're meeting guys that are going outside the box to make things work. And that's what it's for me. It's more like almost like a popular science magazine my life has become, to see, like Dan Reed, you know, he's a teacher down in Philadelphia, and he teaches all these young kids how to fix cars, and he's super cool about that. And he presents it in a manner that makes it really interesting, even for me, already knowing a lot of the technical stuff that he's doing. But to see him do it, it makes me feel good, and it kind of refreshes my memory as to why we do this.
Yep.
And just do this stuff for the community. And Jay wasn't on board with that. It was just money.
Right. Yeah.
So I grew Vagfair into this big family thing.
Yep.
I started on my birthday weekend because I wanted to party with my friends, and the only way to get these retards here, and I don't mean retards and just,
I know what you mean.
Mine, don't judge me. I mean, I have plenty of people that do that at home. Let's say I shouldn't use that word, but
you know.
I'm just, my window looking friends. And they call me other things. But to be able to hang out with them all as a group, that's what it was for me.
Right.
Like, so what can I do to trick them all into hanging out with me? I know it sounds weird, but, everybody has an excuse.
It's the excuse to come out.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
not
an
only
excuse.
is it Cory's birthday, but it's a car show too.
Come out for my birthday. And they're like, man, I feel obliged to bring you a gift. I don't want to go out to your house and hang out with your family and everything. Like, fuck that. Let's do a car show.
Yeah.
Let's throw a party.
Perfect.
And alcoholism and everything else sets in when I hang out with everybody. And I'm not an alcoholic.
I was going to say, except now.
I mean, I quit drinking in November.
Mr. Fellow sober with me.
Yeah, I don't drink, and I really have no desire. I mean, I was a huge craft beer nerd. Love it. Love whiskeys. I mean, love cigars. Love all things bad.
I'm not going to lie. See, I've never drank. I've never smoked anything. But there's something about, and I was telling Cory this, my buddy Cory Marshall, he doesn't drink or smoke either. I was like, I said, at 35 years old, I've never drank, and I don't claim straight edge or anything either.
You're curious?
No, well, I want, I don't want.
Somebody get John a vodka soda.
No, I like the idea of, I don't know, whiskey or that glass.
I could see you as a whiskey drinker.
A stogie and a whiskey.
You're just like a.
I like the way it looks. You know what I mean?
It fits your personality. The cars and everything else that you do.
Yeah, I like the way that looks. I mean, not that I'm gonna get into that ever, but I like the way that I don't know, the way it looks.
Hang on, I'm gonna answer my wife. Hi, honey.
Nothing.
I'm on a podcast with John Ludwig.
Oh.
Because I didn't want you to freak out and think that, I might have died. Oh. So everybody has heard that my wife could care less if I alive. No, I'm kidding. Hi, sweetie. What? All right, bye. Sorry about that.
No worries, man.
So where was I? Sorry, sidetracked.
Well, yeah. So I'm not really that tempted to drink or anything, but it's. I just think about that. I'm like, man, like this.
What is it about this mysterious liquid that people?
Well, certain ones though. I like the idea of whiskey or just a real. I don't know. Every time I'm in Germany or even in England and I'm in some pub that's older than America. The building that we're in is like older. It's been a pub for 800
Right.
years or something
What is
crazy.
this a draw?
And
What
it's
is
like,
this
yeah,
draw?
the idea of having a pint with a bunch of boys like just seems cool. But it's
Don't do the pint with a bunch of boys. It's never just a pint with the boys, all right?
I know, because I've been
It's
there.
fucking bathroom time. It's throwing up all over yourself.
Well, that's what I
It's
mean.
waking
Like,
up feeling like shit.
I get all the social construct of it because I'm there. I
Right.
travel around. Because I'm not like
You see it from start to finish, back to start.
right. I'm with it though. I'm with it. I'm there. I'm there in the trenches with all of them. I'm just not partaking of the beverage. And
Right.
so I'm not sick. I'm not hungover. I'm
Right.
not
You're
like,
the guy that's like, hey, John, can you go to the store and get us a bag of water and some chips?
oh, dude. And I'm always since high school. I've been the dude driving them home
Right.
and making sure that everybody's
But
safe.
if you ever have an inclining to drink a good whiskey, I will break my sobriety just to have a glass with
dude,
you.
there's a lot of people out there that would do the same thing. And I've had people
We should
promise
probably get all together and just I'll get a good bottle, $400 or $500 bottle of like Scotch single malt. I have Cubans.
Yeah.
We'll bust out the Cubans. We'll all just take a small shot neat
Yeah.
and call it a day.
Yeah. I'd have to make some phone calls. There'd be a lot of people that would have to be present.
Well, you have the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I mean, it would be like, yeah, I'd have to like get into my Rolodex cards and be like, all right, who said they'd have to be here?
You're gonna have to sign a waiver though that states that I'm not responsible for what happens after
To my
that
life.
sip.
Yeah. When
Right,
that,
I'm not gonna be the one that's like,
yeah.
oh, it's all Corey's fault. He took John down the hole.
Yeah. Deconstructs my life. That's why, see, I dive deeply and I'm obsessive by nature. So that's why I just don't.
It's the same way I am. Anything I get into,
Yeah.
I've got to get into it.
And I know, and at 35 years old, it's not a question anymore. Like, it's
Right.
not like I'm 18, I'm a senior in high school, and we're partying on the weekends and like with college kids, and they're the elders, and we're like trying to keep up with them. And it's
No,
like,
you have responsibilities.
well, now I understand where I stand in humanity. I know what my body's like. I know what my mind is like. And it's like, no, I don't even need it because I know that if I go down that rabbit hole, I'm going to go all in.
It's gonna be like John's gonna buy my whole whiskey collection at home. Where's
Yeah.
John been? Oh, he's now got a whiskey podcast. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Please,
to a lot of
nobody
people.
tell him to try to be vegan. All right,
yeah.
don't do that.
No, I like meat too much. I do.
Yeah.
So to finish things up, man, Vagfair Vacationland 2020 is happening.
It is.
We're
and
a
it's
day away from the weekend.
pandemic car show.
Yep.
A lot of, like I said, a lot of planning, a lot of CDC talking, a lot of back and forth with some public health departments
Yep.
to understand their gathering rules, obviously, parking rules, learning the rules to kind of break the rules per se, and not so much break them, but know the gray area.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Because I mean,
I preach, just follow the rules, and here I am telling you
Yeah, but
about all the
you're-
gray area stuff. But I'm trying to do that gray area stuff so that
but anyone that
we have a
knows
successful
you,
event.
yeah, anyone that knows you knows that you have safety like first.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
100%.
so
Your safety is my number one concern.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
And you want, and by default, just like what we were talking about from your H2O days, you're not like trying to get a massive head count for money. You're here for the community. So if the community's going to last and it's going to weather this storm,
It's like
you gotta-
my post. If you
gotta-
don't want to wear a mask,
Yeah.
the rules in Maine are you must wear a mask in a public area.
Yep.
If you're hanging out with your friends, I don't care.
Yep.
Public area, if you're going to go to the bathroom and there's other people in the
Yeah.
bathroom with
Wear a
you,
mask. Yep.
just wear a mask. It's
Yep.
going to be better anyway when you wear a mask in a bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, I probably,
It's going to smell better.
I wouldn't mind wearing a mask when I go into a public bathroom anyway.
I'll wear a mask now when I go into a goddamn sports bathroom after a
Yeah,
hockey game. It's
yeah.
smells like R. Kelly's
not
living
just,
room.
Not just pheromone wise. I mean, just as far as the stuff floating around in the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why they say don't keep your toothbrush out in the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you take it down, particles of shit get on your toothbrush.
Yeah,
Just so you know. So you're
exactly,
still
yeah.
talking shit all the time.
Yep.
But yeah, the rules, the hand washing stations, the camping, which is a great addition. Him shutting the whole campground down on Sunday so that no outsiders can get in. No Karens, no Brads,
Yep.
Jets, Brets. Yeah, no offense, guys.
Luckily, my name has been used for like the latrine for so long that they
Right,
can't
it's
use
like
a
whatever.
John for.
Right.
Or John was a hippie as well, right? In the 70s, then they used that word. What was a John? in the 70s.
Is a guy that was soliciting prostitutes.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew there was something.
Try
in the
to make it
70s.
nice. Now I'll help
I'm
you out
like,
there.
I couldn't remember. Well, it's like the toilet or male prostitute.
Right.
Like, so John's already been used, so I don't have to worry about this new age like
Right, and it's
Karen thing.
I
Because
just
my
want
aunt's name is Karen, and she has no.
my insurance adjuster that's looking at all my cars that got hit by hail damage. Her name is Karen, and
Yeah.
I got the letter and it said Karen. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Let me just let her talk to the manager.
Yeah, my aunt is so far away from what like your like description of a Karen
Yeah.
is. It's just so funny that they use those words now.
It's just like I said. We could go on forever about all the stuff, but it's like, for me, it's the core thing with the community.
Yeah.
Is to be able to connect with the community, let them know that I'm here if they need something. I'm not saying I'm a martyr. People take everything you say now and just pull it into the wrong context.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel that, I'm not trying to please everybody, but if like Jay called me right now, I'd answer the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody that hates me, which I'm not going to name names, I could probably name 30, hate me, whatever. I'm just transparent. I mean, I know what people are saying about me. I'll call your ass out on it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, having known you for, I don't know, a good handful of years now. It's pretty easy to see. You're pretty transparent. You know what I mean? Like,
Blatantly obvious.
Tell how it is. So, well, tell people what's the easiest way to kind of find you? You're as far as the social media
FBI
goes.
poster?
Yeah. Yeah.
Social media, Tracer Turbo.
Tracer Turbo with a C, Tracer.
Yep. Tracer was the wheels, Tracer wheels back in the 90s. And Turbo was my first 2-liter build, Mark III build that was actually featured in Eurotuner.
Yep. And you use Vagfair York on Instagram, right? For both shows.
Yeah, Vagfair York, and I think there's now Vagfair Maine. I don't handle the social media stuff on that end. That's Chris Mann, actually.
Okay, good to know. Yep.
So Vagfair York, just try Vagfair Maine. I think he opened one up.
It is a page, because I've been tagging Vagfair York leading up to this weekend's show.
Yep.
Because on the description of the Vagfair York page, it says the Instagram for both the York and Maine shows. So if Vagfair Maine, which is a live account, if that account is now for the Maine one, yeah, maybe change the description in the York one.
Yeah.
Because I would have been tagging the Vagfair Maine one all along to get some traffic headed that way.
Yeah.
We'll clean that up now, at least for the podcast. So Vagfair York and Vagfair Maine. Tracer Turbo.
And then Facebook is just my name.
Do you have but man, steer clear of the Facebook. You will get unfiltered Cory Sterling on Facebook.
Oh yes, you will. If you have any very strong opinions, know that mine aren't very strong either. I like I said early on, I suck at grammar. Yeah. And I just tell it like it is.
Do you have an Instagram page for VW Garage?
Nope.
Or no, you don't?
I don't.
Just too much.
It's
too much.
I have the Facebook business land page.
Yeah.
Just call the shop if you want something.
Yeah.
I mean, we're working on a website right now with a big media group.
Cool.
To get something, dialed in. I do own the domain name.
Yep. Do you do? I mean, I know your bread and butter is obviously you're in and out maintenance and all that stuff, but do you do any performance stuff? Yeah, I thought
so. We're a Unitronic dealer, Maine's only Unitronic dealer.
So good to know. Yep.
HBA dealer.
Yep.
034 Motorsports.
Perfect.
I think pretty sure I'm only one in the. We are. I say I don't mean that. I meant we as a group of the team that I have that works for me. I don't take credit for their work. I facilitate the idea to them, and then I force them to do it because my techs need to be pushed. I'm not letting them get complacent. I want them to continue to learn, and I don't mind investing money in that learning process.
Right. Yep.
And I worked with a guy that owns Live Maine, which is a t-shirt company up here. Does some really cool stuff. He does some really good stuff for the community. Became one of my really, really good friends here in Maine. I could rely on Chris for anything. Although we don't talk every single day, only when his car's in the shop, because he's got 3 kids and a wife.
Oh yeah.
And I'm on the same boat. He brought me an A4, a B8 A4, 2-liter wagon, automatic. With this, it started with a headliner and it grew into a stage 3 car, and then it was wheels. The whole car's been done.
Yeah.
It was featured in Quattro Club Monthly at its 2-liter 4-cylinder stage. Chris had this crazy idea the whole time that he wanted me to buy an S4 and swap the S4 chassis into the A4 platform.
Is this where you're getting into the 034?
This has something to do with 034.
Because obviously there any bell housing you need or any
now.
Yeah.
So I buy this car against my better judgment, against everything that's going on in my head, because I'm trying to run a business, and he's got me thinking about like a 40+ hour build that's going to tie one lift up. And now I turn cars over. I'd like to see 3 cars in each bay out of that garage every day. I've never went to school for business or anything along those lines.
I'm going through that right now.
Right.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
I basically took over a gas station.
Yeah.
I own a gas station.
Yeah.
I never wanted fuel.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I've seen some of the people that own gas stations. If they can do it, that's what I always say to myself. I look at the worst possible person. This guy over here owns a gas station. He's got no teeth. He drives an old Chevy pickup, and he can still afford to live. I can do that too.
Yeah,
probably make it a little better.
One piece overall,
right.
work suit.
And lo and behold, do you know that he lives in a mansion?
Oh, yeah.
When he parks at the end of the driveway, a shithole truck, and then drives his Ferrari up to the house.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money to be made in gas.
Yeah.
So, I took over all that, and then we get this car shipped in from Chicago. It gets the back end smashed. First thing, I've got to have attitude about it because I'm nervous. My anxiety pulls my attitude out. And I drive the car down the street. I call him. I'm like, goddamn car's here. He's like, well, when can you start it? I'm like, dude, I can't start anytime soon. And this is like November. And then, December comes along, snow, blah, 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 blah. COVID hits. My business goes from, craziness to literally nothing.
Yeah.
I've got governors breathing down my neck telling me I'm going to have to close, but I'm essential because I'm a gas station, and all this mixed information's coming in. And it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And I feel the confusion of other people, and I understand your anxiety, and I get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but thankfully we have this R32 project, this bus project, and this fucking S4 thorn in my side out here that I just don't want to start. Well, Chris gets locked down to his house. He's got to be doing Zoom meetings all day. He's a big marketing advertiser. He does stuff with Patagonia, with LL Bean, and all this other stuff. And he's a young guy. He's in his 30s. I call that young.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's younger than me, so he's a young guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like, all right, dude. I got to do this because it's the only way we're going to keep this business open. He's like, all right, get the car over to you. All right. Get a game plan together. Put both the cars in the lift. Drop the chassis out of both the cars. Roll the chassis over from both the cars. Put all the chassis back in one day. Put the cars back down. Put them outside.
Perfect.
The A4 now is an S4 motor plant.
Yep.
Transmission, engine, differential in the car. About a day and a half.
Yep.
Now comes the fun part. Wiring it all.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, what do we got to do? Well, start pinning out stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we can plug all this shit in and go. And this was our big discussion for a year.
Yeah.
It's like a year of him convincing me everything's going to be okay. And it took a long time for me to walk away from my home garage to open this gas station, even though I had a business prior.
Right.
I'm very, very cautious. I'm very, very methodical about how I'm going to do something, especially something that large.
I'm come from that cloth, though, yeah.
I think a lot about the immobilizer system. Now we're into the 5 immobilizer system, keyed. You have coded control modules all through the car that are all matched to that key, that are all matched to the ECU, to the VIN numbers, to the cluster, to the ECU, to the gateway. Like, all this shit talks. So do we have to rewire this whole car? And I'm like, well, we're putting an S4 motor in, and that transmission ECU for the DSG is inside the ECU. So that's good. Clap that together. Well, he wants to use the S4 gauges, but he wants to retain the B9 housing. Take the gauges apart, put the B9 housing together, put the cluster in. I'm going to need the gateway out of the S4, do a little bit of coding, put the key in it, fucking started right up. We were like, what? It fucking started on the first key.
But
idled.
And I was going to say, that's
Perfect.
the next question. Idled. Yeah.
Idled. Put it through heat cycle.
Wow.
Radiator fans came on. Radiator fans went off. Monitored everything on Vagcom.
Wow.
Checked everything. Door modules worked. Everything started work. I started going through the gateway. Boom, 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 boom. Changing digits, changing 1s to 2s and 0s to 1s, and doing all this work that I've learned from like guys over the years,
Yeah.
fucking around with cars, changing things out, and got everything to work, but the MMI. And the MMI needed some hard coding that I couldn't do that would have to be taken to the dealer. So Chris knows this dude in Poland.
Yep.
He sends us a VAGCOM, like a legitimate VAG, Otis machine tool, Bluetooth thing, plug it in, wire it into the computer, call him at 10 a.m.
Yep.
Dial him up on Skype. He answers, typing away. He's Polish. He doesn't speak any English, so he's translating.
Yep.
He's like, all right, hold on. Click, 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 boom, boom, boom. MMI's on. I'm like, you
How
gotta be
crazy
kidding
is
me.
that? Yeah.
He's like, all right, do this, do this, do this. All that worked. I'm like, the rear wiper does not work. Well, Chris had researches everything. Like I was like, hey, do you want the Snow Performance kit? I got this Snow 250 kit. It's $500 the kid wants for it. He's like, dude, that thing's only $250 on Amazon. I'm like, are you legitimately researching this while I'm talking to you?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, well, I'm interested in it. I'm like, well, that isn't the same kit. And lo and behold, it was a $500 kit, but whatever. So he researches everything. So we had to put in a Q5 steering stock in it, a Q5 airbag spiral spring in it, and then the S4 paddle shift steering wheel. So this has got, back to the guys with the Mark IVs. You want to learn how to do something? You're fucking with the suspension. I'm fucking with the electrical system.
Yeah.
I'm messing with literal server data going into the gateway's your server. And then every control module off of that is a hard drive. And that hard drive is spitting information back to the gateway that tells it, okay, the rolling chassis is telling the doors to rolling lock. So It's reading a speed signal from the engine control module processed through the gateway that's going to the J519, which is a comfort convenience module. That's processing that information. That's sending another signal to a window motor to the lock motor locks.
Yeah.
And you have to understand the fluid dynamics of computer topology to make this all happen. And we've had, classes all the time on that shit from all my different manufacturers. And that car now drives perfect. Stage 5, I would imagine. Ported charger, JHM headers, 034 tune, which, you own an S4, 034 is...
Yeah, they're the guys.
Really, I love Unitronic, and their tune is awesome. It's flawless, no issues, no problems, and nothing. But they build tunes for the enthusiast that's not going to keep changing the car.
Yeah.
034 does the same thing on somewhat a smaller level. They're more focused on the race car, street track car, crazy tunes, ethanol tunes, methanol tunes. Big small charger pulleys to big charger pulley tunes, ultra chargers to hemi throttle bodies, bigger boost noodles, deleted cats, deleted downpipes, DSG tunes, ZF tunes now for the ZF cars, which is awesome. And that tune's awesome, and it's cheap right now. Just that car is a monster. And we ended up getting the rear hatch to work with the wipers.
Yep.
It's also had to wire the sport diff in. Changed the whole airbag topography, which was fun and exciting because you can't test airbags with multimeters because you blow them up.
Yeah.
And then put in park distant control in the front on a competition bumper. So there's a lot. It'll be here Sunday. There's a lot of really neat things, really small, subtle things you need to look at that car.
Yeah, I'm sure.
To understand what went through it.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Over $100K probably in that car.
Oh, I bet. Well, it's cool that you guys are doing like cool stuff like that too, and not just your run of the mill.
Oh yeah, we do anything from downpipe install, suspension install. And our special at the shop is you buy suspension from us, and you don't ever pay retail. I price match anybody.
Yeah.
And if I can give it to you for cheaper than what ECS is selling it or somebody else is selling it, absolutely, because my game is in the labor.
Yep.
Not in the part. I make $10 on a fucking coilover. Whoop-de-doo-dah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you buy a coilover for me on a Mark IV, Mark V, Mark VI, Mark VII. It's $250, $300 install.
Yeah.
Who's doing coilover? Your guy down the street's doing it, but then you're bringing it to my shop because the strut bearings are fucked.
Yeah, or it's not set up right or
right.
whatever.
And we're using the 034 high density front mounts. We're using the 034 rear density mounts. A lot of the 034 motor mount inserts are making a big change to the way the car and the dynamics run.
Yeah.
I mean, I still use Unitronic for my exhausts, my intakes, my turbocharger parts. They're proven to me.
Yeah.
100%. Never had an issue.
Awesome.
I mean, out of thousands of cars I've touched, not one fitment issue on a downpipe, not one fitment issue on an exhaust, not one fitment issue at all on their stuff. Always perfect.
Yeah.
And they don't outsource it. And that's why it's always perfect. They're not using different companies to make them that might get a jig or make a jig differently that just tweaks it just a little bit, especially on an RS3. To an RS3 downpipe, there is nothing in there that makes any room.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, 3-inch IROS downpipe, ridiculous. Car, nasty as hell.
Yeah.
Like, those cars straight out of the box are ignorant.
Yeah.
That 2.5 liter motor, Jesus Christ, that car's badass.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool.
But
well, cool, man. Hey, we did just over 2 hours, and I'm starving. I don't know if you were.
yeah, I got to piss.
I'm sure you do now.
Oh, yeah.
I know you put that cup of coffee down right before we started, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how long this is gonna last.
I'm feeling a little tired now.
Yeah. Yeah, the coffee did just the opposite for me because I was half through that cup when we started, and I'm like dangerously sleepy now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because maybe the hunger has to do with it.
Yeah.
Need some food.
Yeah.
We ate a bunch of seafood before we came here. Although you had a burger, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
But
did you do? Have a lobster roll?
no, Mike and I split. They wouldn't do a farmer's. Not farmers. They wouldn't do a fisherman's platter like mix. So I got the fried scallops and French fries, and Mike got the fried shrimp and onion rings, and we just kind of we made it a fisherman platter. But it was a lot of food.
Yeah.
It was a lot of food. No, yeah, it was a food coma era for a little bit. This weekend, Vagfair, Vacation Land, super excited. Yeah, Tracer Turbo on Instagram, Vagfair York, Vagfair Maine. If you're in the New England area, specifically the northeast, east coast, check out VW Garage.
Yeah,
you're in
come on
Portland,
by.
right? You're right in Portland.
Yeah, right. Westbrook.
Yeah.
Westbrook, Portland line.
Next door, yeah, Westbrook, Maine. Cory Sterling.
Thank you.
Dude, I'm excited for the weekend, man.
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't even started yet.
I know.
I'm excited.
Trust me, my anxiety's been up and down all day.
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has.
I know there's a lot of people over at the campgrounds. There's a lot of internet chatter. There's a lot of chatter going. Everyone's awake in the house now. I can hear. Oh yeah, they're
downstairs.
all out there chattering.
They're probably wondering where on earth you are.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do we have a buddy that's walked in here with us?
Yeah,
right
I
now?
haven't seen Matt come back out. He
came-
came out of the bedroom.
He came out, and I'm like, there's no way to escape.
He's never walked past.
Yeah.
Unless he's come across the ceiling.
We're set up in a room in this house where there's a bedroom behind me, and we've got a door closed behind Cory, and the rest of the house is behind Cory. So we've got a friend that just came out of this room. I think he's trapped here. Hasn't
we
crossed the
probably
camera.
Get out of here. Let him go.
All right. Hey, yeah, this is episode 19, I think. Boy, we're getting close to 20 episodes. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
We'll pick like a specific story or something
We'll
that
have
we can
to talk
expand
about
on.
Foundation Blue.
We should. Yeah. And I don't have my notes in front of me, and I wrote that down. I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, Foundation Blue is.
Well, shout out the Instagram.
Yeah,
I think it's just Foundation Blue.
I think it's Foundation Blue. Google search Foundation Blue on Google.
And that's in Alexi's
memory.
Yep.
A fellow Mark III friend, really good friend.
Boy, it's been a while since he passed now, hasn't it?
It's 10 or 11 years.
Yeah, boy, time flies.
Yep. And I do a lot of charity work for that.
Yeah, you do.
Yep. Bring these live charity auctions to the car shows. I bring a lot of top end stuff, ABT wheels this year, some Rostec cables, Legos, bunch of really cool stuff.
And you guys finished this car.
And we finished this car. Yes. There was a lot of people involved with that.
Right. And we don't need to get into that right now at the end of this episode. We will. We'll do another episode and we'll talk about that. But
yeah.
For context, for anyone who doesn't know, Alexi was Northeast Automotive or Volkswagen enthusiast who passed away, and his car hadn't been finished. And you, as like you said, with a lot of other people,
finished the car.
I've got goosebumps talking about it. Brought her around to a lot of different shows, and I've met Alexi's parents, and it's really
it's a really cool thing.
It's a really good thing, which is why I really wanted to talk about it.
We take the money that we raise, and at first we were giving it away for medical reasons. If somebody fell sick or whatever, because I believe the whole thing behind Alexi was sleep apnea.
Yeah, because he passed in his sleep, didn't he?
Passed in his sleep. Yep. So we were doing some medical stuff, and once in a while we'd do something, here for like a community thing. real famous BMX guy out of Rhode Island. God, I can't remember his name.
Vic Betancourt?
Nope, Kyle something or Kevin something. 7-time gold medalist at the X Games.
Oh, Kevin Robinson.
Kevin Robinson.
Yeah, Kevin recently passed too.
Yeah.
Kevin died a couple years ago. Heart attack.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. Kevin actually donated a bike.
Yep, great. Yeah, Kevin was the best. Kevin was one of the
He was
best.
a good guy.
Yeah.
So we raised that money, and now we've changed the mission statement because we want it to be more happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
always it's always trying to like relive what we were doing.
Well, the first few years of Foundation Blue, it was still somber, you know,
Right.
because Alexi had passed, everyone was still kind of grieving.
Right.
And I didn't know Alexi very well personally. I'd like just kind of been in a circle of people talking with him.
Right.
I didn't really know him very well. That was at the beginning of my entry into this like community, but we'll do another episode and we'll talk about that more in depth because I think more people that's something that needs to get put out there. You know,
so now, like I said, just now we donate to kids that are going to go to tech school.
Awesome.
So that money gets, for scholarships or whatever tools, whatever they need.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and we'll have a cool auction this weekend. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm just as terrible on the mic as I am here as I am there.
This one's been good. The beginning, I was like, oh man, Cory's already off the rails. Here we go. To keep bringing it back. I'm like, let's talk about Volkswagens.
No, I said I promised it would go into political shit.
No, but I'm glad. Because I mean, well, this year,
this is political stuff. Like it's
right,
like,
but
it's
this
so
year
crazy.
This year you're sober. If this was any other year, you would have already had a few.
We wouldn't be doing this.
And if we were, there'd be 3 other people in here, and it'd be a complete nightmare.
Oh yeah, it would be beers all over the table. I'd be pretty shit faced, and then I get real honest. Like this is my sugarcoat honest.
I know it.
But
let's go hang out with our friends.
Yeah, let's
because I can hear they're partying. So hey, thank you everybody for listening. We'll do another episode.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Cory Sterling. Let's go. See ya. Yeah, I'm sure you have to pee.
Oh, I gotta fucking piss.